new, never-before-seen manga is available now for free on my new website, mangaletter.com. This includes unreleased Ultra Vegito episodes, VE episodes, GR episodes, and an unbelievable amount more. Simply click the link in the description or pinned comment, enter your name and email using an active email, and boom, more manga will be in your inbox. Make sure to check your spam, junk, or other folder if you don't see it, and remember, this will never be released outside of Manga Letter. So sign up now, no excuses, it's free. There's over 132,000 members and counting. Enjoy. So our story continues with Vegito arriving on a strange planet after brutally assassinating both the god Liquor and his angel Corn. The planet he arrives on is noticeably desolate, surrounded by a multitude of large pyramids and palm trees that line the area. Nothing like the planet of Liquor or Beerus. For a moment, Vegito looks tense, trying to work out a plan, as right now he can see nothing but pyramids, trees and lands. He takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, and begins to locate any sign of life to find the god. I've never been to a planet like this before. Is this really where this universe's god is? Where the hell are they hiding this time? It doesn't matter. Wherever they go, wherever they hide, I'll find them. Let's just hope this time it's at least a slight challenge. Instantly, Ultra Vegito's face becomes full of shock. His eyes wide and his mouth open, he sees something that somehow brings fear even to the God Killer. What the? And unbelievably, in the sky before Vegito is a rain of what looks like an infinite amount of moving dots that get larger and larger. And as we zoom in, incredibly and horrifically, each one is revealed to be an arrow imbued with Hakai energy. As fast as Vegito is, there ultimately is no escape though, as he just stands still as each and every one of the arrows rain down, piercing him and the ground below in a matter of seconds, piercing his very skin and bone, tearing apart his flesh. At first, Vegito makes hardly any sound as the adrenaline and shock numbs him until... Vegito cries out. He's bleeding all over, his blood covering the black arrows in small crimson rivers. The pain being simply unbearable as the ends of the arrows become lodged in his body, each one seeping destructive energy into him, ready to erase the God Killer for good. Vegito can only comment now. No, not like this. Where did they come from? Vegito eventually collapses to his knees, his hands out to catch his fall, fighting the pain, doing whatever he can to not give in. Vegito's breathing heavy, sweat beading from his brow, his teeth clenched in pain. He starts to speak. No, it can't end like this. It won't end like this. It just can't. I promised them. I promised everyone I'd avenge what the gods did. One god's death is not enough. Soon though, as Vegito contemplates his final moments, Heles and her angel reveal themselves. They stand there peering at Vegito, assessing with glee the damage they've inflicted on him. Her angel Sour comments, "Impressive, Lady Heles. I didn't think it would work from the stories I've heard of that god killer. But seems your little booby trap actually worked. He's pinned down like a common rat." To which Heles responds, "Oh, Sour, why would you ever doubt the most powerful female god in history? Beauty, brains, and brawn, all in one package. Aren't you a lucky angel to be attending to me?" Slowly and enjoyingly, Heles and Sour then approach Vegito, who is still sitting on the floor, consumed in pain. Heles at this point is smiling as she says, "So this is the famed god killer, the one who betrayed his own god of destruction. It's nice to finally have some one-on-one time with you. I haven't been on a date with a man in a while. My, you haven't changed much at all in the last 10 years, have you? I'm not sure what I expected, but I didn't expect this. Still the same worthless idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. I must say though, what a pity. You would have made a fine toy boy for me." Slowly, she walks over to Ultra Vegito, clasps her hand over an arrow buried deep into his shoulder before she holds it there for a second. While Vegito stares at her hand, wondering what she's going to do. With a grin on her face, she yanks out the arrow out of Vegito's shoulders, saying, "Here, looks like you could use some help." Instantly, Vegito screams a scream that could strip paint from the walls. Blood gushes from the wound as a chunk of his meat seemingly comes off as he pulls. No doubt that brutal pulling really pained him, but that pain is soon replaced with sheer, utter confusion. As sadistically, Heles then sticks out a large tongue and unbelievably licks the blood off the tip of the arrow, seemingly taking a great pleasure in the pain and discomfort the god killer is in. With her tongue still out and with a crazy look in her eyes, Heles says, How I've missed this. The taste of pain and fear in your blood is just too delicious. I could taste this all day and never get bored. So tell me, little toy boy, how does it feel to be seconds away from erasure? Do you feel the same fear Liquor and Beerus felt yet?" Vegito, meanwhile, can only look with a sense of disbelief. Never having seen a god behave in such a way, he can only let out, "You are disgusting!" Heles, though, can only look down and laugh, responding, "I disgust you. The mortal who dares kill the gods that look over them is the one who is disgusted?" What a funny joke from such a worthless insect. You do well to remember your opinions mean nothing to a deity. You are nothing. Well, at least you soon will be. Just the slightest scratch from any one of my Hakai arrows will erase any mortal from existence. I'm sure you can imagine you haven't got long left. Vegito, perhaps realizing his fate, then bows his head in a sign of what seems like defeat. His face sad, and he thinks and lets out, "An arrow of Hakai energy, like the one you fired at my best friend, an innocent. You erased him for nothing. With these same arrows you possessed, didn't you?" Heles, hearing this for a moment, looks confused and responds, "Huh? Your best friend? Did I hear that right? Who the devil was that? Do you have any idea how many miscreants I've had to put down with these arrows in my time? I can hardly remember the great rulers of entire planets I've taken down, let alone a damn earthling from your universe." If these were your last words, what a waste they were. But as Heles finishes saying this coldly, Vegito now begins to unbelievably start raising to his feet, now with his energy creating a strange sense of heat and crackles of lightning near him. What? Heles' angel Sour, watching on, begins to panic. He knows full well Vegito is no ordinary mortal, but this shouldn't be possible in any case, as he remarks, "Vegito, just what kind of power does he have? He should have been erased minutes ago, but he's somehow standing I don't know if this will end well. And suddenly, in a burst of rage, Vegito inexplicably powers up ferociously, screaming as he does so. How dare you not remember the name of those you killed! You monster! I'll make sure you remember each and every one of them! Instantly erasing the arrows within him as his power spews from his body. Huh? What's happening to him? This can't be! Heles, of course, is left completely sideswiped by Vegito's sudden burst of energy. She steps back in fear and to cover herself from Vegito's power and then continues, This energy, that is that of a destroyer! Do my arrows have no effect on him? How? Universe 7 is said to not have a god of destruction candidate! Beerus, what were you thinking? But before Heles could ponder any more on where this power of Vegito comes from, in an instant, in a display of unbeatable speed, Ultra Vegito rushes in right in front of Heles, ready to punch her into the next dimension, yelling, Time to die, goddess! Heles is frozen in fear, as seemingly time stops for her, and she thinks in her head, Oh, is this it? This power, this speed, what can I do to stop this? I hope the children will be okay without me. But looking on with a deadly serious face is the Angel Sour. With conviction on his face, he remains quiet until... The Angel Corn suddenly and incredibly surrounds himself in an Ultra Instinct aura, readying himself for something as he thinks, Angel laws or not, I will not stand by and watch Lady Heles die to this scum. For the good of the multiverse, I will stop this demon from wreaking havoc right now, and answer to my father later. Not today, Vegito! As shockingly, the Angel Sour then enters the fray of battle, instantly using the speed of Ultra Instinct to get right between Vegito and Heles, with Heles being shocked herself. Huh? Sour, what are you? What? But in a shock turn of events, Sour is left gobsmacked as Vegito instantly switches forms to a complete Ultra Instinct form. His body now surrounded in the same exact aura as the Angel, saying, Haha, Ultra Instinct, huh? Fool! Don't tell me you thought you were the only one who could do that! Yeah! And Sour, in a fruitless effort, then swings his Angel Staff across to hit Vegito. But Ultra Vegito, now in his complete Ultra Instinct form, just instantly dodges, as expected, with a smile saying, Haha! Too slow, Angel! Time to join your brother, Corn! And immediately, Vegito then engages his deadly energy blade once again, now called the Godslayer Blade. And in one fell swoop that is so fast, not even our human eyes can see it. For a moment, there is pure silence, as neither Sour nor Heles knows what has just happened. Only Vegito, with his beaming smile, knows. As it is revealed incredibly, killing two birds with one stone, Vegito slices in half not only Sour, but extended his blade to cut through the very god he was trying to protect also. Now seemingly near brain dead, both Sour and Heles are split down the middle as their two halves begin to break off from one another like chopsticks. With the two bodies now lifeless in front of him, Ultra Vegito stands over them menacingly, his Godslayer blade in one hand and in the other a concentrated ball of destruction energy. And without a word more, he then yells, Hakai! Instantly turning the God and Angel duo to nothingness. erased forever from the face of their own planet and universe. Vegito, then still in his Ultra Instinct form, coldly turns his back and lets out finally. His name was Krillin. We then see Vegito standing among the dust clouds of his attack, silent, potentially thinking of his next move, or staring into the soul of someone who is watching him. Vegito thinks, the gods, only 9 remain now, and so too do 9 angels. They must know by now I am on the hunt. It's your move, gods! Come to me now, or I will find you. And as the scene zooms out, we then see that Vegito is indeed being watched, as the entire scene is now within the special crystal ball of an angelic staff. And watching him are none other than the god of destruction Belmod and his angel Margarita. Their faces full of concern and shock, with Belmod's hands on his hips, uncertain of what to do now until... This is insane! Who is this guy? You've got to be kidding me. A Saiyan! A Saiyan killed 2 more of us back to back? And an angel! How, Margarita? How? In frustration, he turns his head to his angel, who also looks worried and yells, Margarita! What the hell do we do now? How is this even possible? You told me after Jiren surpassed the god of destruction that there would never come a day where a mortal would surpass an angel. You guaranteed me this, woman. Now both Sour and Corn are dead. Margarita, in response, just looks as confused as Belmod, her pigtails drooping lower, now without their usual bounce. There's a large build-up of sweat dripping down her face. She tries to think fast and replies, Belmod-sama, I don't quite know how he was able to dispose of my brother Sour like that. It was one thing defeating Corn when he had his powers erased, but Sour used his angelic abilities and was still destroyed. He should have been able to put up a better fight against Vegito, whether he had Ultra Instinct or not. I can't understand how, but Vegito's mastery of Ultra Instinct has become even greater during his confinement. Her face then turns to Belmod and continues, All I can say is, he was nowhere near this strong when he first defeated Beerus. This is a different Vegito altogether. Somehow, he's gained an enormous amount of power and skill while he's been away all this time. But how? It's still unclear why Zeno-sama even kept him alive. There seems to have been no reason for that other than to make him suffer. When I watch Vegito in action, this mortal has mastered not only the power of destruction beyond you and the other gods, but also perfected Ultra Instinct on the level of us angels. To have mastered both forms, the destruction of a god and the Ultra Instinct of an angel. This isn't good for anyone. A grave concern then descends over Margarita's face. She grips her staff with anxiety and places a finger under her chin to help her think. Finally, she says, And of course, there is still one more issue that we need to address. On his own, he is able to not only wield Whis' staff, but also make the staff obey him. It follows his every command. That in itself is a mystery, for not even a god like yourself would be able to do anything with an angelic instrument. Nothing would happen. They are hardwired to respond to only our specific angelic energies alone. I don't want to believe it, but if my brother Whis left behind that scepter to Vegito, he may have imbued Vegito with something else too. Something that explains his command over it. At this point, Belmod looks utterly furious. His face coursing with heated blood, he throws his hands up and grabs his hair from both sides, yelling, That damn Whis! Look at what he's done now! I always knew he was as much trouble as Beerus. I just didn't want to say anything. And now look at what's happening. Damn it! This is insane! A god killer is on the loose, slaughtering not only us, but the angels too! And Zeno and the Grand Priest are nowhere to be found. This is unheard of. We need a plan, and we need one quickly! And suddenly, an idea does come to Belmod. His eyes dart back at his angel, and he says, "There's only one person in this universe who can save us. I never thought I would have to do this, but it seems that Vegito has left me with no other choice. We must call the only one who could benefit from the power increase of becoming a Hakai in time to stop this monster. We must call the one stronger than a god of destruction, before it's too late." Just like that, we are then treated to an image of Jiren the Grey, who it seems for the last 10 years, and even from the moment the Tournament of Power ended, has kept himself training mentally just as Vegito was forced to do. What insane power he will now possess once he wakes up is anyone's guess. Meanwhile, on Champa's planet, watching the same image of Vegito with his angel Vados' staff, the two remain silent at first, not knowing how to react or what to say. They're completely unsettled at what they've just witnessed, fighting their eyes as if they're trying to deceive them. Champa begins sweating, saying, "This has gotten out of control. Beerus, you damn fool! What have you done to us? This is no ordinary Saiyan, no ordinary mortal. How could you allow a mortal like this to exist on your watch? How could you not foresee that one day he could be a challenge to us? Those damn Saiyans would always seek out a fight, and you knew that! Not even a candidate to be a god of destruction, yet you taught him destruction techniques." But unlike Margarita, Vados comparatively seems much calmer and looks at Champa and says, "Lord Champa, permission to interject. It would seem that in a scenario like this, both our lives are now in danger. This Vegito is just as much a threat to me as he is to you. Whoever this Vegito is, he sees no more reason, no more logic, nothing. He cannot be talked down from his mission of vengeance. He is scary, yes, but he is not unbeatable. We must remember that at the end of the day, he is but just two Saiyans, forged together. And we have an entire planet of them. I would say that the odds are in our favor." A shocked look comes across Champa's face as he realizes what she's talking about. Of course! The Saiyans! How could I forget that? A sinister grin then comes across Champa's face as he continues. What a brilliant idea! You really are the best of the angels. So that's what we have to do. Vados, bring me Kaba, Kale and Cauliflower here at once, and send word also to the most talented of the Saiyans in Universe 6 that I will be paying a visit to him personally soon. With him and those kids trained in a room of spirit and time, this Vegito won't know what's coming to him. Bring me the King of Sadala! And in the last image we see the lone King of Sadala, sitting on his throne of bone and skull, the wares of those he defeated in battle. A devilish smirk coming across his face as if he too knows a true battle to excite a Saiyan will finally be coming. So our story continues with Ultra Vegito summoning Whis' staff back to his right arm, commanding it like it was his own and he was truly of angelic caliber. A slightly disappointed and disgruntled face soon comes to him though, as he looks to the sky and thinks, as fun as this all is, I've gotta say, all this god slaying has really got me hungry, and I've expended so much energy already. But to be fair, the hunger isn't surprising when I haven't eaten in over 10 years. That room Zeno put me in sure had some strange magic to keep me alive. Now slightly jogging at a controlled pace and his hand grabbing a growling stomach, Ultra Vegito looks around for any sign of food or civilization. There's got to be something around here. Even some water would do right now. But man, I'd love to have Bulma's chefs with me right now. Eventually though, Vegito notices a large but desolate pyramid in the distance and thinks with a smirk, so that's where that god used to live. How strange. It's nothing like where Beerus was. What even is that? Some kind of hut? If she's anything like Beerus though, she must love her food, and that means that place has got to be stuffed with snacks. Cake, chicken, ramen. Soon Vegito's face comedically shifts, literally salivating as he begins to think about just how much of a feast he believes he will now have at the expense of the deceased Heles. Without a moment to lose, Vegito then launches himself at the structure with speed, before instantly finding himself at the foot of the front door, ready to enter. Of course it's locked. These gods really can't help but waste my time. And as Vegito says this, he cocks back a closed fist and instantly blowing apart the large door in front of him, leaving the smoke and cinders of its destruction to sway past his body as he readies himself to enter. What was even the point of that pathetic door? Well, let's just hope what's inside is of better quality. Huh? What was that? Who dares attack the home of Lady Heles? Surprisingly, we then see a shot of 4 women, all dressed in the same Egyptian-style clothing as Heles, tan skin, and each of different size and shape. As Vegito confidently walks towards the girls in silence, the larger one seems almost frozen in fear and confusion, muttering, Who goes there? Is that a man? While Vegito, who has now all but closed the gap, frustratingly comments, So that damn god had slaves? Disgusting. And annoying too. I thought these gods all enjoyed living in solitude. Beerus must have been an exception. Suddenly, the smallest of the 4 girls yells out, It is a man! Ladies! He must not be allowed any further! Dispose of him before Lady Heles catches wind! While Vegito, who now reverts back to base, knowing this is nothing more than a waste of time, remarks, How pointless! Can anyone in this multiverse realize when they're severely outmatched? Get in, girls! As instantly, with some impressive speed, 3 of the older girls rush in simultaneously, ready to annihilate Vegito and remove him from their quarters. But as expected, Vegito does not take kindly and stares at them with coldness, thinking, Fools! You're lucky I'm in a good mood today, kids. And just like that, with a seemingly merciful smile, Vegito suddenly sways his hand, launching 3 beams of energy at once. As each of the 3 women are instantly neutralized by the beam, interestingly grabbing their necks like a hand rather than blasting their heads off. As it's soon revealed, in a throwback to one of Vegeta's moves, the energy beams form circular collars that pin the 3 girls to the wall, leaving them helpless and unable to free themselves no matter how hard they pull and struggle. Vegito, now pleased with himself that he stopped this nuisance in the way of his food, just stares before letting out, "Now you three pretty ladies sit tight for me, okay? I'm a guest, so let me make myself comfortable." As Vegito then makes his way to the pantry of food he smells in front of him. To the right of him though, the last remaining girl stands frozen still. "So are you going to pointlessly attack me too? I'm all for charity, but I'm not sure I'll take it easy on the next person to try their luck with me." No, sir. I don't want to do that. Please help yourself. Just don't hurt me." As the young girl hilariously completely surrenders with her hands up, paralyzed in fear by the mere presence of Vegito now. Vegito then walks straight into the pantry area, jumping up onto a table. For someone who was so hungry, he doesn't seem to be reaching for any food in particular, before eventually letting out, "So, this is how the goddess Heles ate. Not bad. A lot of this stuff is similar to what's on Earth. Or at least, used to be." With his anger slightly heightened now, after being reminded of what happened to his home, Vegito glares into the soul of the young girl and then commands, "So, you don't want me to kill you and your little friends, right? Well, make yourself useful then, and cook me some damn food, and lots of it. Got it?" The young girl is left slightly bemused by the strange request. Never would she have expected an intruder to have arrived just to eat, but she reluctantly responds, Of course, whatever you want." Some time then passes and the girl indeed cooks an array of dishes, as Vegito tucks into a bowl of what looks like ramen. The look of joy in his face is so palpable, we can only be reminded of the old Goku. This is amazing! You're even better than Chi-Chi. I gotta come here more often for grub. But meanwhile, the girl not responding to the compliment notices out of the corner of her eye a familiar object. Right next to Vegito, she notices the iconic angel staff held by not only Sour, but of course Whis too. With intrigue, she immediately inquires, "Oh my, is that not an angel staff? Is that who you are? Some kind of candidate to become an angel? That must be it. That's why you're so strong. We're so sorry, we didn't know. Please, free my sisters and we will humbly apologize. Lord Heles will kill us if she finds out we disrespected an angel." Vegito, with his mouth full, now chewing slightly slower as he senses the situation shifting slightly, looks at the young girl and thinks, "A candidate to become an angel? She probably means like Beerus. I guess that could work." Then continuing, "Yeah, something like that. I'm an angel, alright. A real saint. But as for your sisters, they'll be free once I leave. Somehow, I don't think they'll be in the apologizing mood. And just so you know, I don't think Lord Heles will be back anytime soon, so you're good on that front too." Despite hearing this though, the girl's demeanor still changes as she grabs herself, feeling a bone-chilling breeze, and looks down sadly replying, "Oh, well I hope she's okay. She's never this late. It's starting to worry me. I don't know if you've heard, but there's a lunatic god killer on the loose. Rumor has it, he's from the demon realm and managed to escape somehow. He's targeting both gods and angels, so candidate or not, you need to keep a watch out. We've been training just in case he came for us too." Vegito, finding this response amusing, closes his eyes with a cocky smirk saying, "Oh really? Yeah, I might have heard something about get that. But you know, if he's after only the gods, you kids really just need to relax. He has no business with mortals. From the rumors I've heard, of course. Huh? But for a moment, the young girl is inexplicably left surprised, before responding, mortals? I mean, yeah, we've heard it seems this demon only goes after the gods of destruction and their angels, so far. But Lord Heles is our mother, so technically, me and my 3 sisters are gods too. Lara over there is even supposed to take over as god of destruction once mother steps down. What? Hearing this, Vegito's face suddenly goes wide-eyed as his mouth opens in shock, staring down as he thinks, wait a minute! These 4 are gods! The children of Heles, a god of destruction! Just like my children! In the background, thinking of the faces of his 4 children, who were all erased, never to be seen again at the hands of Heles and her fellow gods. Vegito, in reaction to this, immediately stands up, grabbing his staff, not uttering a word, as if he's come to a conclusion internally that does not need to be said. Callously walking past the girl, who then questions, wait, you're done already? You haven't even got to dessert yet. But Vegito continues his walk, now reaching the entrance that he blasted through from before she calls out, hey, wait a second! Soon then seeing the girl strangely running towards Vegito, continuing, hold on, don't go just yet, I have something to tell you! Soon from behind, the girl manages to grab onto Vegito's swaying hand, without any fear in her heart. As Vegito turns around and she looks up to him, there's a big smile on her face, completely calm, as if she's grown to trust Vegito after their brief conversation. Adorably, she then lets out, whoever you are, mister, I just wanted to say, it was really nice to meet and speak to you. It's not often we get visitors. In fact, this is the first time I've ever seen anyone other than Lady Heles or her angel. I knew you weren't going to stay forever, but I really do hope you enjoyed my cooking, because I really enjoyed making it for you. Before then reaching out her hand for a handshake. And surprisingly, Vegito reciprocates as their hands meet, and at first he continues to remain silent mysteriously until soon a smirk forms across Vegito's face, and he lets out, no problem, kid. It was nice to meet you too. You're a good cook. I hope one day we can meet again and I can enjoy more of that ramen. I'll be off now, and when I leave, your sisters will finally be free. Do me a favor and tell them sorry for me. And with that said, with the wind blowing behind him, Vegito then walks out of the pyramid, saying his final goodbye while the girl waits behind. And with himself now fully fed and re-energized, Vegito continues his quest to annihilate all the gods that forsaked him, and he calls into the staff, take me to the next god! And just like that, Ultra Vegito vanishes to his next divine victim. The young girl, meanwhile, looks on from below with an infatuated smile and says, wow, what a handsome man. No wonder Mother told us to stay away from mortal men. I better go clean up before she gets back. I wonder why he said she'd be away a while. Regardless though, she turns her back after bidding farewell and begins walking back to the food pantry. She eventually reaches where Vegito had just been eating, attempting to clear away the mess and empty bowls he left behind. When suddenly, she realizes there is a mysterious shining ball left next to Vegito's ramen. She thinks to herself, huh? Did he leave a gift behind for me maybe? But soon, the ball begins to shine brightly, completely illuminating the room, and in her final moments, the young girl realizes what the ball truly is. Fruitlessly finally yelling, "Wait, what? No! No!" And from the outside, we witness the sudden and cataclysmic destruction of the pyramid that housed the little girl and her 3 sisters, all now dead, adding 4 more gods to Vegito's kill count. Meanwhile, unbothered in the slightest, Vegito arrives via the angel staff in a new location and new universe, this time in some peaceful fields and greenery with lush trees surrounding. He looks around for a moment and then says, "Wait a minute, this place, it seems familiar. But from where?" And as Vegito ponders on the familiarity of the location, an even more familiar voice calls from behind, "You there! What business do you have on the land of the Kais?" And as Vegito turns around, he thinks, "Huh? The land of the Kais? That voice, could it be?" And standing there revealing himself is none other than Gowasu, Supreme Kai of Universe 10, looking on in silence at the intruder on his lands that he at first cannot recognize as Vegito stares back, equally as cautious and silent. So our story continues with Ultra Vegito having just arrived in the land of the Kais, Vegito's face still full of caution and confusion as he and Gowasu stand across from each other, peering at one another. Neither person has any idea who the other is after over a decade apart. All what has happened to bring the two to this divine and alien place. Time begins to tick along with the two still remaining silent, just feet away from each other. Vegito's fist, meanwhile, remains gripped, ready to end another god's life if the Kai proves hostile, while Gowasu remains with a noticeably more relaxed tone. Soon, a look of faint realization reaches Vegito's face, as he says, "Wait! I know this Kai! He seems familiar, but from where? I can just about remember Shin's face, let alone another universe's Kai, but I've definitely seen this guy somewhere." Gowasu, meanwhile, looks stern at first, but as his brain puts things together, he relaxes a bit, looking more surprised than anything else, responding, "Wait a second, it's you! Vegito, the Potara fusion of Goku and Vegeta from Universe 7! My, it's been a long time, hasn't it?" Huh? He knows my name! Vegito struggles to think, as his mind now withered away from his 10 years imprisonment tries its best to keep up. He quietly wonders to himself, clearly struggling to remember and seeing flashes of himself and Jiren the Grey, a fight that never actually happened. But surely, the only way another universe's Kai would know of his existence. Why can't he remember? How does this universe's Kai know all this? It couldn't have been from the Tournament of Power, as we never fused during it. What's going on? Gowasu looks relieved, however, a kind look washing over his face as he happily approaches the man he considers both a distant friend and hero in service of the many gods of the multiverse. "Vegito! My, it's been some time, hasn't it, since you rid me of that upstart Zamasu and his alter ego Goku Black. To think, a Kai in training, my own student no less, would steal one of the sacred time rings to go back and forward in time, all for the sake of murdering mortals. Tell me, to what do I owe the pleasure of seeing you again?" Gowasu, now comfortable, begins walking towards his would-be friend, saying, "Come inside, Vegito. Would you like any tea while you're here?" Now only inches away from the God Killer. Vegito's eyes suddenly widen as his face contorts from the memories rushing back all at once. He remembers. He sees the threat of Zamasu and Goku Black and what they did to Trunks' sad future, and even more crucially, the box of time rings. Zamasu! Of course! This must be Universe 10! The universe Black came from. The same universe that houses the time rings. Could those rings allow me to go back in time before I killed Beerus? Now, almost in a show of multiple personality disorder, Vegito finds a way to throw on his best happy face. It's almost as if he's doing an impression of the happy-go-lucky fighter Goku once was before all of this tragedy. It was completely fake, of course, but for the sake of what he now needs from Gowasu, it will work perfectly. He walks over and greets Gowasu with a firm but polite handshake. Supreme Kai Gowasu, it's been a long time, my friend. It's so great to see you. Yeah, that Zamasu and Black situation sure was a crazy one. To think they managed to get rid of all the gods in Trunks' timeline. Monsters. But Gowasu, I've actually come on the orders of Beerus. You see, he needs to inspect the time rings once again. It seems there is yet another being on the loose looking to mess with time. If these rings are left in your possession, I'm afraid your life may be in danger, just like it was with Zamasu. But this time, if we act too slowly, no one will be able to save you. What? Gowasu, of course, is visibly shocked to hear this news, quickly realizing that this is no reunion of long-lost friends, but rather a warning of yet another Zamasu-level danger. With a look of shock, he asks, "Another threat? There's no way. Not again. The time rings are checked every morning. Nothing has changed. I'm sure of it. But if this is a matter of urgency, I'll bring them out if that is what Beerus desires. Tamoi! Bring the time rings at once!" As Gowasu then turns his head and yells out behind him. Vegito, understandably like us viewers, is visibly confused once again. As bad as his memory is, he definitely didn't remember anyone called Tamoi being here last time, and thinks, "Huh? Tamoi? Now who the hell is that anyway?" And while Vegito thinks, a set of feet eventually walk onto the scene behind Gowasu, as if at his command. And as the doors behind Gowasu swing wide open, a mysterious figure appears, beckoned in response to the Supreme Kai of Universe 10's orders. He's a stern-looking young man with an interesting cut of chin-length white hair and a scar over one eye. He's wearing the traditional garb of the gods in a deep navy that complemented his pale orange skin. Unlike Zamasu, it's clear this trainee was far different from the Kais that came before him, as he holds tightly onto the time ring box as if his life force was attached to it. There's a hardened look in his eyes as he stares at Vegito, but says nothing. Swiftly, Tamoi then walks over to his master Gowasu and hands off the box with both arms, confident nothing would be wrong as he reports, "Lord Gowasu, here are the rings as requested. I can assure you, they were checked just this morning, as they are every morning, sir." To which Gowasu responds, "As I thought, but we shall prove it to our esteemed guest here to be sure." Hearing this, trainee Kai Tamoi then turns his attention to Vegito. as the fighter's steely and serious eyes meet. Vegito stares back at him, matching his intensity. Both are clearly assessing the threat level of the other without saying so. Whatever was left of Goku inside of Vegito definitely feels reminded of the vibes given off by fighters before a Tenkaichi Budokai tournament. Still staring, Vegito thinks, this guy, he looks like a Kai, but there's something strange about him. He doesn't look like he'd be as weak as Shin or Zamasu was. What is this strange feeling I'm getting? He might be a problem. Having seen enough, Tamoi then shows a glimpse of concern and turns to his master for guidance, inquiring, Lord Gowasu, as much as I respect your wishes and commands, who exactly is this visitor we have before us? I do not believe him to be who you think he is. He smells of blood. The blood of gods, in fact. What? Vegito's heart drops as he hears this inference, but tries to hide the look of shocked concern on his face as he obviously panics on the inside. An inner version of himself then meanwhile though can't help but scream and shout, Now who the hell is this? I knew something was off about him. Does he really know what I've been doing? This is going to get ugly in a second if Gowasu catches on too. Gowasu, though somewhat obliviously, can only sense the tension in the air between the two rather than hearing what Tamoi is actually saying. Sweating profusely before smiling like there's no trouble at all in an attempt to reassure everyone, including himself. Then saying, Oh Tamoi, you truly are an untrusting one, aren't you? You must excuse him, Vegito. It is something we are working on. Tamoi, this is no ordinary visitor. He is in fact Vegito, the legendary warrior who stopped your predecessor, Zamasu, from his evil activities. A fusion of Universe 7's two strongest Saiyan warriors, Goku and Vegeta. Tamoi, though, seemingly unimpressed and potentially still unconvinced, proceeds to look Vegito up and down. He still doesn't trust him, but he lets out, Saiyans, I see. Gowasu, now pleased he has calmed the situation down, then points his hand to Tamoi and introduces him properly, politely and formally to their strange house guest, saying, Vegito, this here is Tamoi, my newest Supreme Kai apprentice, an ideal candidate I've been training for years now. He harbors no darkness in him as Zamasu did, and as I'm sure a talented fighter of yourself can probably sense, he has also made a name for himself as the strongest Kai in the known history of our kind. Hearing this proclamation, though, just results in a smirk coming across Vegito's face, as he disrespectfully plays with his angel staff in his hands and lets out, Oh really? Well, good for him. Can't say being the strongest Kai equates to much really though. But you're right, I can tell just from looking at you that you're a little different to the rest. Anyway, let's get down to business. Let me see those time rings before Beerus is angered. Gowasu, reacting quickly to the possible reprimand of Lord Beerus, instantly complies, saying, Yes, certainly, I'll open them now. The older Kai then grabs hold of the box before opening it right in front of Vegito, and inside, as expected, are 6 time rings, a brand new one having been created after the Zamasu incident that had caused Trunks' move to another timeline, with himself. It was a rare break in the rules where the gods had decided to look the other way. Vegito, meanwhile, gets a good look at the rings, and a large grin can't help but form on his face in response, as once again he tries to maintain his cool. The inner version of himself yells, Yes, this is exactly what Black used. Amazing. 6 rings capable of allowing me to move back and forward in time. I think I'll go for the silver one, like old Black himself. With his goal now in sight, and possibly a way to undo everything that's happened so far, Vegito reaches out his hand eagerly towards the rings with a crazy grin, as he finally says, "Yes, Gowasu, just as I thought. It seems like there may be a problem here, as one time ring has gone missing yet again. Look, it's missing right here." But before he can reach the box of rings, a hand mysteriously grabs onto Vegito's wrist. Vegito looks towards the person who would dare to stop him, yelling, "Why, you damn Kai!" thinking it would be Tamoi, but instead, it is revealed to be none other than Rumshi, the god of destruction of Universe 10, standing tall and staring angrily at Vegito while Gowasu stands behind in a mixture of fear and confusion. Gowasu calls out, What is the meaning of this?" While Rumshi responds, "You grow too trusting, Gowasu. You can't even spot a demon when you see one." Vegito looks at him angrily, his plan now seemingly foiled, and no less by one of the very few beings who already took everything he ever loved from him, as he lets out, "You! So I finally had one of you cowards come to me, instead of the other way around. How perfect! Saving me the time it will take to destroy you. But let go of my hand if you don't want your death to be slow and painful, elephant." Huh? Gowasu meanwhile is shocked to hear these words come out of the hero Vegito's mouth. It doesn't take him long from these words to then realize that his understudy Tamoi was right. Something was wrong, and he gasps, "No, Vegito, did you just threaten to destroy a god? What is going on here? Lord Rumshi, I'm sorry." Rumshi, though, just has a stone-cold face as he stares down Vegito. There's no fear there. Despite the stories of what Vegito had done to the other gods, it's either a sign that this god is just as stupid as the others, or on a whole new level of power. Confidently, he lets out, "To think, filth like you was capable of erasing both liquor and Heles, let alone Beerus. Your amateur senses could not even detect me coming here to stop you. That's how far your evil desires to steal one of these time rings has corrupted you and weakened you. You should have always known. Now that you were on the run, there would never be a time you could let your guard down. Especially as long as I lived, God Killer." With one arm behind his back, Rumshi continues his cold stare down of Vegito, who is frozen in place by the god's sudden presence, and Rumshi explains, "Gowasu, in your old age, your discernment of good and evil has wavered. It's high time Tamoi took over. This Vegito before you is not the one you once knew. This beast is someone entirely different. Something that should no longer exist." Rumshi, having said this, then raises his palm up in front of Vegito's face, readying an attack that both Goku and Vegeta had seen up close several times before. Vegito, in an act of pure defiance and bravery, stares back at the face of Erasure without flinching, both silent but knowing what comes next, until Rumshi finally yells, "Hakai!" Vegito's mouth opens wide as he begins to be erased from reality forever. His feet already having been erased and quickly moving up his body, this is no joke or illusion. Ultra Vegito, under the power of the veteran god of destruction Rumshi, is being erased from the universe for eternity. Tamoi watches intently, deep in thought and not remotely pleased to be witnessing this ability in person. As Hakai, Gowasu had been teaching him to treasure life in all its forms. This was the opposite of that, and his response is, "So, this is the power of a god of destruction, Hakai. Complete erasure. What a truly scary ability to be at the end of. Poor mortal. I know not what he did exactly, but I trust in Rumshi's judgment." And just like that, only moments later, Vegito's entire body has been completely erased and reduced to nothing but fine particulate matter that disappears into the air. Rumshi stands there unaffected, calmly placing his arms behind his back, knowing his job is now done. Gowasu and Tamoi are stood there also, unsure how exactly to react to what just happened, other than to be in a state of shock and awe. A faint smile then comes across Rumshi's face, clearly pleased with himself as he says, "Haha, to think they used to call Beerus one of the strongest gods of destruction next to Jin. I never believed it for even a second. And today, I know I was right to have those doubts. This was no foe that could challenge me, and Beerus disgraced himself by allowing defeat to the likes of him. At the end of the day, this traitor was just another mortal. He is no god like us, and is thus fallible to the desires of greed and evil that come so easily to their pathetic kind." Rumshi then turns to Gowasu and looks sternly at the aged custodian of Universe 10, continuing, "Gowasu, enough with your trusting attitude. I want you to put those time rings away and never again bring them out unless you have my..." What? Suddenly, Rumshi is left extremely shocked as he looks into the small box that Tamoi had brought out earlier. It's a worst case situation, and the box of time rings is now completely empty. Every single one, all 6, have seemingly disappeared as if erased too, along with Vegito. Gowasu is instantly taken aback and starts to panic as he looks around the nearby area in desperate hopes that they just fell out of the box and are on the floor somewhere. He reacts, "What? It can't be! The time rings, they're gone! Every single one! Tamoi, did you see what happened?" But before Tamoi has any time to answer, Gowasu, Tamoi, and Rumshi look up towards the skies, sensing a phenomenal and terrifying godly apparition. "My god! Lord Gowasu, what is that? No, it can't be!" As in the sky, a dark portal suddenly opens, and out of it jumps Ultra Vegito, smirking, covered in a dark electricity, with both his arms stretched out. In one arm is his angelic staff, and the other his Godslayer energy blade, ready to take its next life. As Vegito smiles, he calls out, "Rumshi, your time has come!" What on earth? But Rumshi, knowing all too well what's coming next, then immediately begins to dash away and commands the others, "Run! He's on the attack!" And just as Rumshi had predicted, Vegito's Godslayer blade extends suddenly so far, it cuts through the very earth of the planet itself, rapidly reaching the trio of gods as if heat-seeking. As Rumshi shouts out one final time, "Move it! Now!" And just like that, Tamoi and Rumshi with speed both dodged the powered up blade at the very last second. But unfortunately, Gowasu, in his old age, was not so agile. and standing there, paralyzed in shock, and now clearly split in two from the attack of Vegito, Gowasu remains, now put to rest 10 years after Zamasu attempted the same thing. As his body begins to split into two pieces, the box of empty time rings falls from his hand sadly, and his student Tamoi can only watch on in sorrow, yelling, "Master Gowasu! No! Please, no!" But alas, nothing can save Gowasu, as the parts of his body then fall to the ground with a thump before the shell-shocked Tamoi and Rumshi. Vegito, with one victim gained, then lands to the ground, his face smirking as if he's accomplished a goal, remaining silent. Until, as his body slowly rises up, he begins to laugh. "Still looking for those time rings, fools?" As Vegito then reveals himself with his arms crossed and most shockingly wielding all 6 time rings. Not only has Ultra Vegito escaped destruction somehow at the hands of a god, but also escaped with the very objects they thought they had protected. Rumshi, meanwhile, is caught off balance by the sudden re-arrival of Vegito. Ironically, he looks like he had just seen a ghost he had sent to the afterlife himself. He asks, You took all the time rings? How are you even alive? This can't be reality! But in response, Vegito can't help but just maniacally laugh victoriously. "You gods really all are as dumb as each other. I think I'll call you Dumbo the Elephant from now on. After all, you made sure to give me that silly monologue about how my greed made me get complacent in not sensing you. But what you didn't realize is that your supposed surefire victory made you complacent over just what I'm truly capable of." And with a maniacal smile that would make Frieza proud, Ultra Vegito begins explaining exactly what had gone down just before his appearance. "You really thought I didn't know you were going to try and grab me? You must truly think you're dealing with one of the weaklings in your universe. In reality, as soon as you even began to reach for my hand, I went into Ultra Instinct instantly and moved at the speed you fools could only dream of. In that moment, I went and grabbed all 6 rings and moved my hand back just so you could grab me and grow cocky. The look on your face when you thought you had destroyed me. How funny it would have been to see." What? Rumshi, hearing this explanation, still can't accept it as truth. Not that it matters, because as he complains, he's already beginning to fade away. Nevertheless, he continues, No, you're bluffing. You're just a mortal. I caught you off guard. I destroyed you. You should be the one disappearing right now, not me! But adding salt to the wound, Vegito responds, "Oh, you damn fool! I told you I wanted you to grab me. That means I wanted you to Hakai me too. I wanted to feel that pain. After 10 years of constantly feeling it, I now live for it. Now that I'm free of it, I crave it. You do realize I too can control destruction energy. I could have reversed your own Hakai at any time. But then, I wouldn't have been able to test out the time rings. The second before I was completely erased, I made sure to use the power of the time rings to escape into the past. And just when I felt your cocky kind would let your guard down, that is when I decided to come back and strike. And now, it's time for you to say goodbye, Dumbo." Vegeta now halfway erased Rumshi to just yell in anger, pain and bitterness. You damn God Killer! As the God of Destruction of Universe 10 now also disappears for eternity. With yet another God of Destruction down, Ultra Vegito smiles with his eyes closed, like he's at peace for a moment before letting out calmly. Ha! God Killer. They say that like I don't get a buzz out of being called that. 3 down and only 8 left to go. Regardless of having these time rings or not, I won't rest until this timeline's gods are erased first. My pain and suffering happened in this timeline, so my wrath will start here too. But suddenly, Vegito is interrupted as he senses a huge spike in power and looks to his right thinking, what the? This power increase, could it be? And standing there powered up with electricity and dust clouds moving rapidly around him is the Supreme Kai student, Tamoi, completely enraged, unlike Hakai, at the death of his master and universe's Hakai Shin. He yells, Mortal, you have dared to kill not only Master Gowasu, but Lord Rumshi too, and now, by my hand, as the new Supreme Kai of Universe 10, I will not let their deaths be in vain. Prepare to die, you foul demon! Leading to Tamoi rushing in straight away at Vegito. Anger in his face as he only sees one goal, and that is to stop the God Killer. And to our great surprise, Tamoi actually lands flush on Vegito's chin, sending his head snapping back with force and dramatically. Pleased with himself, Tamoi smiles still covered in electricity and says, Ha! I did it. A direct hit. For the sake of Universe 10, I will take care of this mess. But Vegito remains silent, his head still knocked back, but not groaning or any movement in his body until... With a shockingly swift snapback of his head, he returns with a crazy smile and look on his face, now in his ultra ego form, gaining power from that attack rather than damage. Not bad, would-be Kai. Not bad at all. I bet if Majin Buu had come to your universe, you would have actually stopped him. But allow me to show you what true strength is. After all, I guess you are a deity now too, aren't you? Wouldn't be fair if I didn't let you join the rest of your godly friends. And with that said, Ultra Vegito then begins powering up ferociously, as streams of dark flames become visible in the air as the planet itself shakes. Before, unbelievably, in a callback to when Goku fought Moro, Ultra Vegito rises into the air, now surrounded by a giant energy version of himself, dwarfing Tamoi below him. Tamoi, meanwhile, can only watch in utter fear from below. He's frozen in shock, completely scared for the first time in his long life, outclassed and out of his league against the unstoppable force that is Vegito. He doesn't know what to do and just mutters, Majin Buu? Vegito, inside the safety of his giant apparition, smiles down at Tamoi, enjoying the sense of powerlessness this god now has, and comments one last time, Goodbye, supremely disappointing Kai. And with that, the giant version of Vegito raises its foot as the world shakes under its movement, casting a shadow over the waiting Tamoi like a deer caught in headlights, who can't even say a word before instantly Supreme Kai Tamoi is crushed under the power and weight of Vegito. Where there once was a proud and regal god, now remained nothing more than a bloody mess on the floor. So our story continues as we rejoin Vegito in the aftermath of his brutal clash with the late Supreme Kai of Universe 10, Tamoi, as he lowers his energy level and the giant version of himself dissipates to nothing but separate fading flames. The fused warrior, still in his ultra ego form, stands there with his back turned, victorious. Now standing over what can only be described as a bloody mess of mush, Ultra Vegito has a stern but emotionless look on his face as the thrill of the fight has now ended and he shows an ounce of respect to the god he, though killed, at least gave the opportunity to see the afterlife, saying, "You Supreme Kai types have a bad habit of fighting battles you can't win. You should have known better, but I respect your courage. May you one day return to the living world with a new and improved god of destruction to work with." As Vegito is left with his thoughts, he continues in his mind, 3 gods of destruction now dead, only 8 remain. And just before that pink slop died, he mentioned one of the gods being even stronger than Beerus. As easy as I think ridding the multiverse of these gods will be, I can't grow complacent. I still don't know when Zeno or the Grand Priest will even turn up either. Vegito then turns to look down at the rings on each finger of his right hand, taking a moment to distract himself and consider what his next move should be, as he lets out, "So these rings, the time rings, these little ugly pieces of metal will allow me to travel back and forth in time, huh? And maybe even before I killed Beerus. Maybe before I had to do all of this in return." But though it takes a minute to realize, through his foggy memory, he finally remembers the thorough story of Goku Black and Zamasu, as if wearing the time rings themselves brings back an essence of their very beings. Vegito's face then twists into one of shock and discontent, as he soon realizes that the rings alone won't be enough. "No, this won't work. This won't work at all. These rings will only bring me to a different timeline, not reverse time like Whis' staff could. When Black used these, he traveled from Trunks' world to ours, a timeline where Zamasu still existed, and even after Beerus erased him here, he still remained back in Trunks' timeline. Bottom line is, no matter where I go, there will still be another version of me, of us. That won't do at all." As the impossibly powerful Saiyan thought about the cocky look that used to be all over Fuzamasu's face, it almost felt like the now long deceased mortal killer was mocking him from beyond the grave for attempting to follow down his same path. With anger in his heart, Vegito then soon closes his ring-covered fist tightly and starts to channel his ki into his mythical jewelry in hopes of again using their unique power to bend time. And just like how he mysteriously had full control over Whis' angel staff, he felt too a natural affinity with the rings, yelling, "Alright, take me to another timeline, rings!" And perfectly, just as confidently as Vegito has been throughout this entire process, the time rings open a portal. We should have known from his usage against Rumshi the level of his mastery, but seeing it in action again is as much a shock as ever. Just before he walks into the portal to the unknown, he comments, "At the very least, before I battle those 2 midgets up there, I may as well use this opportunity to train some more. As strong as I am, I need to be stronger, if I want to be sure of their defeat. Right now, it could go either way. I'll leave this timeline for a while, and if they come after me, then so be it. I'm tired of chasing them anyway. And just like that, Ultra Vegito then disappears into the portal towards an unknown timeline in the Dragon Ball universe. Out the other side instantly, Vegito begins walking out, thinking almost surprised with himself. Thank God that worked again. Before stepping out onto solid ground, around him are very Earth-like and familiar buildings, but definitely not in the best of shape, as all around him is destruction and rubble. Vegito is quick to realize the condition of his surroundings too. It doesn't make much sense. Had somehow thinking about Goku Black and Zamasu before going through the portal affected his destination? Was this somehow a variant of Trunks' timeline or something else? He eventually lets out, "How very strange. This feels and looks like Earth. In fact, I'm sure of it. I see Capsule Corp buildings all around. But what's happened? Could this just be before the 11 gods struck Earth or something? Maybe I'll have a chance to stop it." What? It's energy. But before Ultra Vegito had any more time to think about where he's been taken, he suddenly senses 3 large power levels, 2 of them being shockingly familiar. He briefly thinks, these aren't godly energies, but they're near enough from the same level of them, that's for sure. Where the hell am I? And as Vegito turns his head around, to both his and our shock, fighting before him ferociously are none other than Omega Shenron, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. 2 forms, of course, never even before seen by Vegito. As Vegito exclaims, "What on earth? Who the hell are those guys? Those tails? Don't tell me! Your time ends here, Shenron! Die!" Big words from such a small man. Enough talk and make it happen for a change. Come on, Vegeta! We can do this! As we are soon treated to an image of Goku and Vegeta from the GT timeline working together in tandem to attack Omega Shenron, about to launch what is presumably a last-ditch effort. How pathetic. All the while though, the supremely powerful Shadow Dragon just laughs, mocking them, pitying their attempt and saying, "If only you fools could see how pointless this all really was. Every single one of you weaklings on this planet, from your own sons to your fellow fighters, couldn't stand a chance. And you think you can just because you grew out your hair a little? Get real!" As instantly, in an overwhelming show of power and superiority, Omega Shenron backhands Goku and in the same breath kicks Vegeta all away with a smile and seemingly barely trying. And immediately both Saiyans are then sent flying like rockets straight into already damaged buildings of the city for mass crash landings. And with the 2 still conscious, but covered in bruises and cuts, they remain now buried like casts within the walls of the rubble they were slammed into. Barely able to even open both his eyes, Goku then mutters, "Vegeta, listen to me. Shenron is way too strong now. Each of those Dragon Balls inside him have given him the strength of all the Shadow Dragons that came before him. 2 Super Saiyan 4s or not, we'll never beat him like this separately. We need to fuse! It's the only way!" But of course, Vegeta is furious at the suggestion of using fusion as their trump card. Like always, his gut reaction is that he'd rather die than ever fuse with Kakarot for another minute of his life. Only if things truly got dire would he ever even consider, as he responds, "Forget it, Kakarot! We haven't even got those damn Patara earrings anymore. And if you're suggesting for even a minute I do that damn ballet dance to fuse, then you've got another thing coming. Just stop your babbling and focus on the battle in front of us. From Cell to Majin Buu, we've had our backs against the wall and come through before. Just keep fighting. I'm sure one of us will figure out a way to beat him eventually. If not you, it'll be me!" While the two argue though, Omega Shenron stands there and laughs with his arms folded across his chest. He's by far the strongest person this version of Goku and Vegeta have ever met, and he's barely even fazed by their attempts to battle him so far. So it's doubly amusing for him to hear their futile plans to take him down as he calls out, "Ha ha ha! You two really are helpless. You spent all these years, decades even, using the Dragon Balls, using our powers for your benefit, and now when the toll has to be paid, you've come up severely short. When will you two just accept your deaths and give up already? Or at least bring one of your other friends to make this even slightly more challenging. Hey you! Mind if I join in then? You look pretty strong." Huh? As from behind Omega Shenron, a familiar voice calls out and reveals himself to us to be Ultra Vegito, wielding his angel staff and now meters away from the dragon. Omega reacts in confusion and says, "Who the hell is that? And why couldn't I sense his energy? Was his power level just that low?" But standing there tall with a sinister and confident smirk, Ultra Vegito stares now head on at Goku and Vegeta and asks further, "Yo, do you guys mind if I join in here? I'm looking for a little warm-up before dinner. This catfish looking dude seems like just the appetizer I've been waiting for." The oblivious Goku, as you'd expect, is instantly excited at the new warrior in the ring, and cracks a smile after sensing just how confident this mysterious fighter is. He can't even sense his power level, but just looking at him, he knows he's strong. Whoa! Well, maybe we won't need to fuse after all. Who is that guy? He kind of reminds me of you, Vegeta, and a bit of me. Do you know him? He actually looks like a Saiyan with that hairdo. Vegeta, though, not as forgetful as his counterpart, can only stare in shock, unable to believe his eyes. He knows who this is, all too well. How can this be possible, though? As he mutters, "Wait! No! Kakarot! It can't be! That's no ordinary Saiyan! That's Vegito!" But not caring about whatever kind of reunion this appears to be, the angered Omega Shenron immediately rushes in at Vegito without a care in the world, already knowing the two strongest on the planet were just beaten by him. Haha! Who cares who you are? Just another cockroach that's come out of the woodwork! No names needed. All you are is my next victim! But as the Shadow Dragon reaches just inches away from Vegito, Vegito remains emotionless, not even blinking for a second. Yeah! But despite all the speed and power of Shenron, with his arms folded, all Vegito needed to do was move his head slightly and Shenron's punch is dodged like literal child's play, leading Shenron to question, "What the? There's no way! I got him! No one can move that fast!" As Vegito with a smile goads the dragon. "Sorry, exactly when are you supposed to be making me your victim? I'm getting the feeling me and you have two very different definitions of that word." Allow me to show you mine. As brutally, Ultra Vegito violently punches his arm straight through Omega Shenron's torso. His punch being so powerful, not even the dragon's scaly flesh being able to contain his strength. How? What have you done? And with an incredibly borderline evil and demonic look now on Vegito, he grins, taking pleasure in the dragon's obvious pain and misery, and replies, "What do you mean? I told you I needed a warm-up. Where better to feel some warmth than inside a dragon's belly? Don't you guys breathe fire or something like that?" But just moments after saying that horrid line, Vegeta removes his arm just as fast and just as painfully from Shenron's body, now covered in his dark blood before... "I'll be taking these too!" And just like that, in a display of speed identical to when he stole the time rings, Ultra Vegito grabs onto each of the Dragon Balls on Shenron's chest, and leaves them now missing. The Omega Shenron has now had all 7 Dragon Balls ripped off by force, losing all and every source to his power. Shenron, meanwhile, can barely even react, in shell shock from just the fact a being has randomly arrived and overpowered him by such a margin. He just remains silent, not yet even processing the pain, until... What have you done to me? This isn't what was supposed to happen! Who are you? No! As not only does the pain and realization soon all come at once to the Shadow Dragon, but soon enough, he too, with all the Dragon Balls that made up his existence now removed, vanishes into thin air, never to be seen again. See you later, catfish. Vegito is then left smirking, as he is seemingly after every fight he engages in due to his constant win streak. He soon looks down and observes the 7 Dragon Balls in his hands, levitating in his power as he comments, "Dragon Balls. How sad they no longer exist in my timeline. But even worse, what the gods did was so bad, not even their power could have undone any of it." But soon, Vegito turns his eyes to the 2 Saiyans in the back and continues, "But those 2, looks like they've yet to go through anything like we have. There's still hope for them. And there's still a lot of use these Dragon Balls will have for them, I'm sure. I'd better go hand these back." And just like that, Ultra Vegito then instantly jumps over to face Goku and Vegeta, holding his angelic staff and wielding the 7 Dragon Balls in the air around him in a circle. He appears almost like a god, and that look on his face unchanged from his recent battle with Shenron, making it unclear to anyone yet whether he is truly friend or foe. Until... "Hey! You guys got any food around here? I'm starving!" Instantly reverting back to his face that can only be described as Goku's, as he lets out the most Goku line ever. You're kidding me." Leaving both GT Goku and Vegeta in a state of both relief and confusion. So our story continues with Vegito noticeably in a more peaceful setting than usual after meeting Goku and Vegeta from the GT timeline, and as a result has found himself scoffing down some well and truly deserved home-cooked food. And with his mouth still full, he says, "Damn, Chi-Chi, you've gotten really good at cooking over the years, haven't you? The Chi-Chi I knew wasn't half as talented as you are. This is delicious. Could you come back with me by any chance?" Chi-Chi, who hearing this doesn't quite know what to say, not even really knowing who this character was, except that her husband had brought him home and insisted he be fed, then responds, I'm not too sure how Goku would feel about that. Besides, I'd miss my 2 sons and granddaughter far too much to ever leave them. My little Pan is almost ready for high school. Vegito, hearing this, pauses for a moment, and then responds, Pan, huh? So she's grown up to be a fine little woman over here. Good to know. But while Vegito contemplates and reminisces on his now deceased granddaughter, a scowling Vegeta is stood in another corner of the room with his arms crossed, as he stands watching the fusion warrior devour yet another meal. He's lost deeply in thought about the battle with Omega Shenron that he just witnessed, if you could even call it a battle, as he thinks, who is this guy? He just turned up and destroyed Omega Shenron like he was nothing, and hasn't even explained a thing. It took everything we had to face those shadow dragons, and this Vegito made it look like a game. If it wasn't for Kakarot's trusting nature, I would have interrogated him by now. The fool even invited him into his own home. But thinking deeper into the event, Vegeta can't help but be intrigued by the black and purple energy that was constantly emanating off the warrior in whatever that powerful transformation was. It seemed both familiar and completely foreign, as he continues, but that power, whatever that was he was using, it wasn't normal. His ki was undetectable, but yet his strength was on another level. It's no Super Saiyan form, that's for sure. It can't be. He doesn't even possess a tail to have surpassed the 4th form. But whatever it was, I need it. Hey guys, sorry I'm late for dinner. Had to get changed. But soon the Saiyan Prince finds his brooding interrupted as GT Goku walks his way through the room and approaches the rather unusual house guest, and says with a smile, Yo Vegito, there you are. I hope you're enjoying the food. Chi-Chi's an amazing cook. But I guess you'd already know that, huh? But the happy-go-lucky mood and tone soon suddenly shifts as Goku turns his back in silence, and then gives Vegito a cold and serious look before saying, But it looks like you've had enough. Do you mind finishing up there? Chi-Chi will take care of the dishes, don't worry. I'd like to talk to you outside, Vegito. Alone. Immediately surprising Vegeta, who hasn't seen this kind of side to Kakarot in a while, especially not since he reverted to the size of a child, as he thinks, now this is a surprise. That doesn't sound like Kakarot at all. What's he planning, and why alone? This is giving me flashbacks of Trunks. But despite the change in atmosphere and Goku's mannerisms, Vegito does not even bat an eye, still with an unbothered smirk as he responds, Sure Goku, I have something to say to you alone too. What? He needs to say something alone too? What is going on? Again shocking Vegeta, who now seems out of the loop. And so Vegito and GT Goku then stand side by side, walking towards the door to the outside, both quiet, waiting to reveal what exactly it is they have to say to each other. Eventually, they both reach the outside, and the two look relaxed as they stare each other with a smile and make what seems like small talk, as Vegito says, Wow! Even in this timeline, nothing seems to have changed about our home, has it, Goku? To which Goku responds, Haha, I guess not. If it ain't broke, why fix it? But now, with the trivialities out the way, Goku's face returns to being serious and lets out, Vegito, I want to thank you for helping us beat Omega Shenron. I don't know if we would have made it without you, even with Gogeta. It was incredible to see. I'm glad I repaid you at least a bit by getting you a good meal. But Vegito, I need to know the truth of why you're here. I don't have a good feeling about it. Which momentarily confuses and seemingly alarms Vegito, not expecting his shorter counterpart to approach him with such a serious question, as he replies, "What do you mean, Kakarot? Can't a guy come through to help a struggling timeline every once in a while? Trunks did it, why can't I?" But Goku remains steadfast in his serious approach, and quite rightly thinks back to when Trunks first arrived and defeated Frieza, remembering exactly the reason why and the ridiculously powerful androids 17 and 18 that came soon after as a result, replying, "Yeah, Trunks did, but he told us when he came over it wasn't something he should be doing, that it would cause huge consequences if done wrong. He came also because there was an even greater threat in the future that he wanted to warn us about. He even told us I was going to die during it and gave me some medicine. So I need to know, are you coming to warn us of something too?" Vegito is left in silence for a moment, knowing inside this little Goku is starting to figure something out. But now with one arm on his hip, Goku points a finger at Vegito, who still stood across from him. He might look young on the outside, but he has lived a life of battle after battle, and he's not going to let this go. Continuing, "I can tell you've been in battle before coming here. Your clothes are ripped, and you're covered in blood. Blood I don't think is yours. You have to tell me, Vegito, what happened in your future?" But now these questions are starting to get on Vegito's nerves. His mind and temper now fragile after everything he's been through already. He doesn't want to do the unthinkable, but he knows if things go south, so will he. As he contemplates, "Since when did this version of Goku get so responsible? Asking all these damn questions. At least he thinks I'm from the future of this timeline. I guess that's good. I can't let him figure out what's going on though, or this will end badly." Knowing that he can't let Goku know what is actually happening, Vegito decides he'll use the fighter's own assumptions against him. Better that than make enemies of the Z fighters of this timeline. So he would have to make this believable. Vegito suddenly then looks to the ground, channeling his inner future Trunks to give him the best depressed Saiyan fighter from a dark future performance of his life, and replies, "Kakarot, I don't know what to say. You're right. In my future, a powerful warrior, stronger than any other, appeared one fateful day. We were helpless. I tried my best to fight him off, but even with the combined powers of Goku and Vegeta, we had no way of stopping him. Gohan, Krillin, Piccolo, all of Earth's Z fighters fell to his power, and in the end, he destroyed not only everyone on Earth, but also everyone on New Namek, just to make sure we could never bring them back." What? Instantly, Goku is left understandably shocked. In his mind, he was mentally preparing himself for some kind of bad news, but to hear not even this version of Vegito, with all his insane power, could stand a chance, Goku could only let out, You're kidding! Even with all your power, you stopped Omega Shenron like he was nothing! And you're telling me you couldn't stop this guy? Wow, unreal! I never knew so many powerful guys still existed out there. But we soon zoom out to see Vegeta. He's been hiding behind a building this entire time, listening in to everything Vegito has told Goku. Unlike Goku though, who shows an ounce of excitement for the huge power coming to Earth, he instead looks far more concerned, thinking, "No! This has to be some kind of joke! There's no way there's a threat heading here that's even stronger than Omega Shenron! Just what the hell are Kakarot and I going to be able to do about that when even this freak Vegito can't do a thing? This doesn't sound good at all!" Goku though, now showing some signs of nervousness regarding this potential new opponent, now looks at Vegito with some sweat dripping down his forehead and asks further, "About Gohan, Krillin and Piccolo. That's so horrible. I'm sorry to hear that happened to you, Vegito. You're a brave man, but you've got to help us out here. When are they coming? Who are they?" Vegito then looks at Goku ominously, ready to reveal the name of the deadliest threat to Earth yet, and says, "They'll be here in about 3 years. A monster in every sense, capable of erasing your very existence with a single line. His name will be Monarcha." Suddenly revealing to the shock of all of us watching the lengths of deceit Vegito is willing to go down. What? Vegeta instantly is shell-shocked by the statement, tensing up at the name of their terrifying new alien foe, continuing, "Erasing from existence with a single line? That sounds insane! Monarcha? Who the hell is that?" Vegito, though trying to calm the nerves of Goku, then puts his hand on Goku's shoulder, in a reassuring way to let Goku know he's not alone, swiftly allowing him to now accomplish his real goal of getting stronger. He then says, "But this isn't the end. I've come here, Kakarot, to train with you. In my timeline, the Room of Spirit and Time, the hyperbolic time chamber, no longer exists, gone with the Earth as it was destroyed. But here, it does, just as those Dragon Balls did. Come with me, you and Vegeta, fuse into Gogeta, and train with me for the next year. I'll teach you things, teach you powers you never knew existed. We'll get stronger together to beat this demon." Goku looks back at Vegito, hearing this with a trusting smile. There's no reason to doubt him, since of course he's technically himself, and says back, "I got you, Vegito. That's a perfect plan. With your power, I'm sure Vegeta and I will improve tons. Just what we need after that reality check with Shenron. I just hope you get something out of it too. I'll be sure to let Vegeta know now." "No need, Kakarot!" But before Goku can do anything, Vegeta steps out of the shadows with a smirk on his face, throwing up a thumbs up as he says, "Don't worry, I heard it all. I was waiting for an opportunity to learn what on earth that power you have is, and how I can get it too. And now, this will be the perfect chance. Kakarot, quit the chatter and let's go, now!" To which Vegito and Goku look back with a supporting smile. Vegito in particular thinking in his head, "This is turning out just as expected." A short while later, we find Vegito, Goku and Vegeta now stood in the hyperbolic time chamber after letting their family know and gotten all preparations ready. Vegito, with his arms folded, stands between the pair of Saiyans and the passageway to Kami's lookout. With a smile on his face, he declares a start to their year of intensive combat training, saying, "Alright boys, let's get this show on the road. Get into your strongest forms, and then fuse. That's the only way this will even be the slightest bit fair." In response, Goku looks at Vegeta with a wry smile on his face, knowing that Vegeta probably already knew the score, but regardless lets out, "Well, You heard him, Vegeta. I hope you haven't got any issues with sharing a body with me this time. To which Vegeta just smirks back at Goku, humouring him before replying, Normally you'd know my answer, but if it's for the sake of gaining his kind of power, I'll do anything. Just don't get in my way. And within seconds, both Goku and Vegeta have instantly turned into their Super Saiyan 4 forms, with their wild, explosive primal energy crackling all around them in all directions. In a universe where we had never seen this before, every time they transform, it surprises Vegito more and more. But not wasting any time, even though they have a whole year, Goku and Vegeta immediately assume the first of the fusion dance positions, saying, Fusion! Causing a bright light that grows larger and larger at Vegito's feet. And just like that, for the first time in both universes, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is born with his majestic aura and inexplicable orange hair. His power level so impressive, Vegito can't help but smile as he lets out satisfied. Haha, it's about time. Excellent. You'll do just fine for now. Ready when you are, Gogeta. Gogeta then folds his arms across his chest just like his counterpart. If you were a passerby and you didn't know any better, you might even confuse the pair of fusions for brothers. The newly created warrior has a cocky smirk across his face after hearing Vegito challenge him and responds, Haha, you should know better than anyone. I'm always ready. Let's do this, Vegito. To which Vegeta replies, Good. Think fast! And instantly the two warriors vanish as if perfectly in tune with each other. And so the two instantly launched at each other and began a series of legendary battles. One fusion between the deeply traumatized Goku and Vegeta from the Super Universe, and the other from the untainted versions of them from the GT Universe. In an array of clashes and collisions all over the space of the time chamber, Vegito and Gogeta fought, equally matched when Vegito remained in his base form. Both smiling, knowing that this is, and likely will, be the most fun they will ever have battling anyone. As Vegito calls out mid-fight, Not bad, Gogeta. Keep this up, and this will be an amazing year for you. While Gogeta responds, Ha, yeah, only if you start trying finally. Come on, show me a little more of your true strength at least, Vegito. Be careful what you wish for. As Vegito powers up fractionally more, his body now covered not only in electricity, but also strange, unexplained dark flames. It's almost as if his merciless god-slaying exploits have triggered a new dark power within our hero. And so time went on, a year of constant and intense battle. Of course, every 30 minutes, Gogeta would defuse, and immediately the battle-addicted Goku and Vegeta would respond. Alright, ready to go again, Vegeta? Get on with it, Kakarot! We'll get a hit on him this time! And instantly refuse to continue the battle with Vegito. And over time, eventually, under the careful tutelage and training of Vegito, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta would attain Ultra Instinct, skyrocketing his power to a new height that even began to rival Vegito's own Ultra Instinct, as Gogeta would comment, Whoa, I did it! I really did it! This is the power of Ultra Instinct. Incredible. To which Vegito would reply, "Use it wisely. That power you have there is one only meant for the angels, beyond even the gods they attend to. When that day comes, when that monster arrives, use this power to utterly annihilate them." You got it, boss. I feel unstoppable right now. Might even be able to take you on by the end of this year. To which Vegito puts up a classic thumbs up and says, "Haha, that's the spirit. We've got a while to go yet. Let's surpass both our limits." And so the full year finally ended, and like clockwork, just seconds before the year was out, the door to the time chamber opened and out walked a trio of bruised and fatigued Saiyans. Vegeta mostly looking like he just wants to leave this place to get a shower, while Goku smiles at the fusion warrior who has taught him so much before shaking his hand with a look of pride on his face and letting out, "That was an amazing year of training, Vegito. You're an incredible fighter. I hope you gained enough power in there to beat that monster in your timeline. And I hope we did too. I can't imagine anyone causing us trouble now." Vegito looks similarly proud and smiles back at Goku saying, "You did. Don't you worry. Just remember everything I told you. When the time comes, you'll need to annihilate Monarca the minute he arrives." What the? But suddenly, Vegito senses a powerful entity out in the distance. It's familiar, but yet hard to detect. Divine, like God Key. And standing there is none other than Beerus the Destroyer and his angel attendant, Whis. Their ghostly faces haunting Vegito. They've clearly been waiting for the three, but why? So last time on Dragon Ball Super, Ultra Vegito had met up with GT, Goku and Vegeta in a new timeline for what seemed like a peaceful meal. Until that was Vegeta commenced a year's training with their fusion Gogeta, where both would gain new levels of power, only to come out and be confronted by the Beerus and Whis of this timeline, which in today's manga will lead to devastating results. But before we continue, we just passed over 500 members on our exclusive Patreon, who are all seeing constant early previews daily of the upcoming chapters, seeing behind the scenes work, contributing to the story they love, and more, as well as those in the higher tiers who are even getting the entire upcoming unreleased chapters of the story early too before anyone else. If there was ever a group for true Dragon Ball fans, this was it. So for everyone in that community, thank you, and for those of you who can spare some pocket change to support, go ahead and click the link in the description for some amazing benefits. Enjoy. So our story continues back on Kami's lookout, where shockingly Beerus and his angel attendant, Whis, appeared to confront the three Saiyans who had just left the hyperbolic time chamber. And understandably, Goku and Vegeta are immediately left shocked by these strange and powerful looking newcomers, not able to piece together who exactly they are, as Vegeta says, "Wait! Why does that creature seem familiar?" While Goku says, "Whoa, he looks strong. I have a bad feeling about this one." While Beerus coldly stares at the three men, silent and unmoving in his emotions, keeping a stern poker face on as he fails to reveal his intentions. "What? Beerus? Whis?" Meanwhile, the most shell-shocked and traumatized by all of this is Vegito, as he stands there wide-eyed and in a state of panic thinking, This can't be! Why would they be here? Now of all times! And Whis! He told me once an angel is erased, they would be erased from any and all timelines! Did he get it wrong? What is going on here? I need to regroup and calm down. But regardless of his panic-stricken state, Vegito is quick to use his energy to call Whis' staff into his hand, just in case he needs to make a quick exit. Meanwhile though, the Destroyer God now begins to open his mouth and asks his angel, Whis, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you not say only 2 full-blooded Saiyans existed on this planet? Who is this other fellow? It seems he does not have a tail, but his energy signature, I sense, does not seem to be any different to the other 2. Could he really be an Earthling, you think? And Whis, who at first is calm, responds, I'm not sure, my lord. My angel staff is not always 100% accurate when it comes to scouring the entirety of the universe, but for analyzing a single planet, I would think it would be correct. But having said that, judging by the power levels I'm sensing, all 3 of these fighters are most definitely Saiyans. But a dark shadow soon falls over Whis' usually prim and proper face, as the angel realizes something seriously wrong is happening here and continues. But regardless of what race these mortals are, what's more concerning, my lord, is that one of them is wielding an angel staff of his own. And on top of that, time rings meant only for the Supreme Kais of Universe 10. Whoever this third fellow is, he is not supposed to be here. Instantly, Beerus' eyes after hearing this are drawn to the left and right arm of Vegito, with one wielding the staff meant only for the angels and the other wrapped in numerous time rings, just as Whis had said. What the? Leaving Beerus completely and utterly shocked as his brain speeds up, trying to think 1,000 thoughts at once to try and explain what he's seeing. None of this should be possible indeed, and he responds, Whis, you're right. What in the name of Zeno is going on here? We cannot let him leave this place without questioning him. His existence could mean the end of all of us if the God of War catches wind. I'll handle this right now. I came here looking for a Super Saiyan God to match me. And this is what I get? Whoever this is, he better not be who the Oracle Fish prophesied. And just like that, Beerus instantly launches himself at the trio of Saiyans, knowing that if he doesn't stop them in some way now, it will ironically be his head on a platter. What? Stay calm, you two! And as the god hurls towards them, Vegeta and Goku panic, while Vegito remains a force of calm, at least on the outside. On the inside though, Vegito continues his panic and jumps to conclusions as he thinks, damn it! They must have caught on! If I don't get out of here quickly, I'll end up having to repeat history! And though the truth is, the multiverse is better off without any gods or angels, I can't kill Beerus again! This is something these two will have to deal with on their own! Swiftly, Vegito then turns to face Goku and Vegeta and continues to use the 2 warriors that now both consider him to be a close friend to his advantage, yelling commandingly straight at them, Goku! Vegeta! Listen to me! Quickly fuse! That thing approaching you is Monarcha, the demon that destroyed my timeline! Don't ask me why, but he must have arrived early! Use what I taught you and stop him at all costs! Do it now! What? Huh? No! Both Goku and Vegeta are left momentarily motionless by the revelations. They'd only just finished training and already they had a new foe to face. Eventually they come to grips and Goku begins, damn it! He's here already? But we've barely recovered. Vegeta! Do you think we can do this? While a borderline annoyed Vegeta responds, It's not like we have a choice, Kakarot! That damn Vegito said it would be years, and coincidentally, they come just the day after he arrives? I knew messing with our timeline like that wouldn't go down well. But whatever, that's in the past now. This monster is on the attack now. Get into position, Kakarot. We end this nightmare today. Leaving Vegito to watch on with a cunning smile as his plan seemingly comes to perfect fruition, thinking, yes, that's the way, Vegeta. Take command and sort out this mess for me. As from afar, we then hear the two Saiyans iconically yell, Fusion! Ha! Leading to a burst of light that shoots forth from Kami's lookout and into the sky. The light and magnificent power is so great that even Beerus is forced to stop straight in his tracks as he marvels and covers his face, saying, what the devil are those Saiyans doing now? Huh? Suddenly though, the confusion turns to anger as he realizes what's happening. Wait a second! Did two of them just turn into one? Or are my eyes playing tricks on me, Whis? What's with this energy? It's changed! This isn't Mortal Ki. This is... And just like that, now standing there where Goku and Vegeta once were, is a fully powered up Gogeta, already in his Ultra Instinct form, holding onto his jacket in classic Gogeta style, with a newly gained cocky smile as he lets out, alright, kitty cat, I was planning on using this power a few years from now, but since you insist, let's get this party started now! What? You're kidding me! Whis, is this what I think it is? Beerus and Whis thought they were shocked before, but it doesn't even compare to how they feel now in the slightest. They both know what they're seeing, but truthfully, they can't quite believe their eyes, with Beerus saying, Whis, what is happening here? Tell me you know what's going on! But Whis is no more in the know than his god of destruction, as he just stares blankly at Gogeta, completely positive as to what he is seeing, but unsure of how. Letting out, Lord Beerus, something is definitely not right here. This is indeed what you believe it to be, the technique of the angels, Ultra Instinct. Now I'm afraid this has become a matter Father must be aware of. My lord, we must not let any of these mortals escape. Wait! But seconds after saying this, however, Whis looks up into the sky in shock, as one of the two warriors has already begun what looks like an escape. He quickly realizes what's happening as he yells to Beerus, still staring into the distance. Lord Beerus! Up there! The time ring user is on the move! And just as Whis had claimed, Vegito appears in the sky with his back turned as he uses his dark and divine energies to open yet another swirling portal up in the sky with the time rings of his universe. Ultra Vegito takes a quick moment to turn around and stare down at the people below, smiling to himself, knowing he'd got what he wanted from this universe and nobody, not even Whis or Beerus, could ever stop him, saying finally, Goodbye, Beerus. Goodbye, Whis. It was nice to see you again, if only for a brief moment. I leave this now in the hands of Gogeta and yourselves. May you have a better future than I do. Farewell. And below, not hearing what Vegito had said, quietly under his breath, Gogeta smiles back saying, Goodbye, my friend. Thank you for all the training. I'll put an end to these two here and now, and I wish the same for you, Vegito. While Beerus, knowing he can't stop the time portal, futilously comments, "We messed up big time letting that one go. I don't know if we should tell Zeno, knowing his temper." While Whis looks on and thinks, "Playing with time, wielding an angelic staff. Just who is this mortal? And why? Why does he look at myself and Beerus with such familiarity?" Meanwhile though, having made his escape, Ultra Vegito floats through the portal and arrives back in his own timeline, but has found himself in yet another one of the many parallel universes. This time, he's on what seems to be a strange and unfamiliar planet, one he obviously doesn't think he's been to before, and from the look on his face, he comments, "That was a close one. I guess I have to worry about running into gods and angels wherever I go in time. But where the hell have I found myself now? This could be a planet in any universe." But having just maneuvered his way out of danger, Vegito takes a moment to look at his surroundings, sensing for nearby power levels, and generally think about his current situation as he reflects, "Damn, I was hoping to eat and recover before arriving back here. Maybe even stock up on some senzu beans from Korin. I guess I'll just have to find something here." His head turns backwards as he continues, "I can sense a load of energies nearby, a little stronger than the ones on Earth. Strong inhabitants must mean a load of food and sustenance to keep them alive. Guess I know where I'm going next." And with his plans made, Ultra Vegito dashes up in the air, flying off in the direction of the life energy nearby at an unfathomable speed. As Vegito flies overhead with his angel staff in one hand leading the way, he thinks, "Haven't even had the chance to get a Zenkai boost on healing up. But man, that training with Gogeta really made a difference. I can feel the improvement, the power, the speed. I'm on a whole new level. That Gogeta, a Super Saiyan 4 form combined with mastered Ultra Instinct, has made him a monster. I do wonder what will come of that universe now that that power is in his hands." Soon, with Vegito's speed, he finds himself over a thriving village population, noticing, "Down there, people. They look pretty strange though." As the fusion warrior looks down, he sees many different types of wolf-like people, standing on 2 feet, living down on the ground below. Eventually, he stops suddenly and descends to the ground to land with a thud, and as his eyes dart around for the first sign of food, he wonders to himself out loud, either unaware of just how morbid his thoughts really are or just not caring, "An entire planet population of wolves and beasts. How interesting. I guess at least that means I won't be short on meat anytime soon." Vegito walks around and soon arrives at a nearby section of shacks, tents and food stalls. It's not long before he finds a market stall that piques his interest immediately. And right there, next to a pleasant looking wolf with spectacles, are 2 plates of freshly cooked and seasoned meat, as the stallsman calls out, "Hey, you there! Yes, you, foreigner. Come try our delicious sheep meat, only 12 bones apiece." And as Vegito hears this, a happy Goku-like smile appears on his face as he yells out, seemingly disregarding the price, "Ah, perfect! Just what I'm looking for, old man. I'm starving. I'll have as much as you can supply." And without asking anyone around for permission, the entitled God Killer instantly grabs one of the fresh legs of meat that have been placed on the counter by the wolf vendor. As the stallsman yells, "Hey, wait a second! But just as the Saiyan opens his mouth wide, ready to bite on his new meal, a furry blue hand grabs onto his shoulder from behind, seemingly to make him stop. Get that hand off me if you want to keep it! As Vegito instantly shifts back to a confrontational tone, wondering who would dare be stupid enough to postpone his meal on this weakling-filled planet. But to our surprise, standing there confidently, each with sinisterly beastly smiles, is the trio of danger, the powerful warriors of Universe 9 that competed in the Tournament of Power and faced Goku, Gohan and Buu in the exhibition tournament beforehand. Bergamo in particular, in the middle, clenches his fist in a threatening sign and stares into the eyes of Vegito and lets out, "Listen, friend, I don't know what primitive rock you crawled out from, but round here, you need to pay before you eat. Now cough up some cash to our poor uncle over here before we turn you into his next selection of meat. Got it?" Vegito though, who is completely unfazed by the pointless threat, looks confused for a second however, unable to work out where he knows these three from again due to his trauma over his 10-year imprisonment, thinking introspectively, "These three, just like Gowasu, they seem familiar too. Are they from Universe 10 also, or were they at the tournament? If it's the latter, I guess that means they could be strong." But regardless, now closing his eyes and smirking to himself, Vegito doesn't look even slightly worried about the trio. What used to be considered strong back then is now child's play now, as he responds, "Ah, I see. Money in exchange for food? Yes, truly a novel concept for my kind. But unfortunately, I haven't got any money, but I'm still hungry. So, I guess I'll have to be turned into meat then. Just do me a favor and wait until I'm done eating, will you? I taste better fattened up anyway." As instantly, without a care in the world, Vegito bites into the leg of sheep meat, gulping it down like it was his last meal on Earth. "What? How dare he!" As one by one, the trio of danger, Basil, Bergamo and Lavender, reel in anger and disgust at the contempt and complete lack of respect for authority the stranger shows for them. In an instant response, all three powerful warriors power up massively in a show of force, ready to turn Vegito into literal mincemeat for his crimes right under their noses, with Lavender commenting, "Brothers, we cannot let this go unpunished in front of our people. Let us make an example of this strange-looking beast." Bergamo then in response, being the leader of the pack, grits his teeth, trying to control his rage as he lets out, "You just made a big mistake, buddy. The price of disrespecting the trio of danger is certain death. And I'll make sure yours is slow and painful. Enjoy that piece of meat, for it will be your last." Vegito though, meanwhile, just continues to eat away blissfully at the vendor's stock of cooked meat happily, and with his mouth full of food and his eyes closed, he dares the wolves to come at him, if they really think they're tough enough, that is, saying, "Yeah, sure, give it your best shot. I'm waiting, by the way. Hurry up before I go help myself to seconds." And like clockwork, not hesitating to move on Vegito's taunts, all three members of the trio of danger rush in at high speed towards Vegito, each one with a ferocious look on their face as if they had reverted back to their primal ancestors, chasing after their next meal. As the trio gets closer and closer within touching distance, Ultra Vegito remains stand still. Of course, not worried in the slightest as he continues to tuck into his leg of meat. But at the last second, with his mouth still full, his body begins to vanish, as with a smile he says, "No matter the timeline or universe, there are always fools ready to rush to their deaths, huh?" As instantly, in a show of incredible speed, technique and ability, mid-flight, Vegito appears before each of the three brothers and attacks each one separately, with Bergamo being the last, being hit directly in the stomach. Immediately, all three are sent flying straight into a nearby hut, decimating it in the process with a loud bang. But standing there with them, with his foot planted on the stomach and chest of Bergamo, is still a smiling Vegito, looking down at his prey as he says, "So when exactly am I supposed to suffer this slow and painful death, huh? You know, on my planet, we hunted your kind. This almost reminds me of back home, so thank you for that." And suffering under the pain and pressure of Vegito's boot, Bergamo begins to cough up blood as the last of his life force fades away from the damage. But soon, finally realizing who the stranger is that he has actually ended up fighting against, a come-to-terms Bergamo grunts out at his opponent in pain. "There's no doubt about it. This power, this speed, you must be who the gods warned us of. You are the God Killer, Vegito." Vegito, with one cheek full of food, looks down at Bergamo with a look of surprise and confusion as he questions the dying animal. "What's this? You know me too. How's that? It's bugging me not knowing where I know you guys from. Did we fight before or something? Maybe that explains how easily I read your movements." But an angry grin soon forms on Bergamo's face, however, as he lets out while still bleeding. "I'm afraid not. But the rumors of your evil deeds precede you, Vegito. Unlucky for you, Lord Sidra came prepared for just this moment. To think we'd be the ones to spot you, though. Of all the warriors in this universe, Sidra entrusted this device too. Oh well, for the good of the universe, the trio of danger will do anything." It's then that we see in Bergamo's hand there is a small and familiar purple and blue button, just like the one Goku used to own that summoned Zeno, before immediately he presses the button. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, Sidra and his angel Mojito are seen in an unnamed area of Universe 9, when they both simultaneously suddenly receive the signal let out from the mysterious button. They both look shocked as they turn to one another, solemnly knowing what they have to do next, as Sidra says, "It's Bergamo, the God Killer. He's here. It's time, Mojito. Get us there now!" And without saying a word more, using the power of Mojito's staff, the god of destruction of Universe 9 and his attendant disappear and quickly reappear in space outside of the planet of Bergamo and his brothers, the one Ultra Vegito is unknowingly situated on right now. With a look of visible sadness and regret on his face, Sidra then looks down on the planet, as if knowing it is about to suffer a cruel fate before letting out, "Bergamo, Lavender, Basil, you have my word. You three will always be remembered in the hearts of us gods. 3 heroes that saved the multiverse. The brothers of legend. Goodbye, my friends. And knowing he can wait no longer, Sidra then raises his right hand to the planet and yells out as it creates a massive glowing spinning ball of the now familiar purple destruction energy, before shouting, Hakai! Instantly launching the concentrated ball of destruction power right down on the unsuspecting planetary population. Back down on the planet, Vegito remains with his foot on Bergamo's chest when suddenly he notices something. Huh? What's this? Some kind of escape technique? As right before him, Bergamo already begins to turn to nothingness as he becomes erased under the power of Hakai. With a small grin, knowing his time has come, Bergamo says, Haha, so it's begun. Goodbye, God Killer. I would say we'll meet again in the afterlife, but I guess that's not where we'll be going. What? Soon after, the confusion over Bergamo's riddle-like words increases exponentially as Vegito looks down at his piece of sheep meat, and that too now begins to erase to particulate matter. And within seconds, now not only has the entire chunk of meat gone, but so too has a number of Vegito's fingers, as he finally realizes that he's been done in and what has just happened. What? What's going on? No, surely not! He didn't! And with a righteous, indignant fury in his voice, Vegito looks at the sky and yells out, No! Not like this! Stop, you fool! As from back in space, we see the once peaceful planet instantly erupt into an explosion that leaves nothing behind but dust in its aftermath. Anything and everything that ever existed on its surface being erased for eternity. All the while, Sidra and his angel, protected by a ball of energy, just watch on, knowing they had finally rid the multiverse of its greatest ever threat. The God Killer is no more. With everything finally done, Sidra turns his face to Mojito, finally looking a little bit relieved. Mojito smiles in his anxious way as he tries to use his angelic powers to confirm that they've won, now not sensing any life force whatsoever. Sidra says, It's over. It's finally over. I knew those deity summoning buttons would be useful. He may have had an angel staff, but his control over it was amateur at best. He could hardly even control where he arrived. It was only a matter of time before I caught him off guard. To which Mojito nods, continuing to look more at peace than he probably has in a while, replying, Yes, my lord, a truly novel idea. I must admit I had my doubts, but in the end, no matter how strong this Vegito had gotten, he could never match your intelligence and experience. The trio of danger will be remembered in the pantheon of heroes for millennia to come. Perhaps, after 990 years, we could use the Super Dragon Balls to revive them once again. A fitting reward for such a selfless act. What? But suddenly, their once peace and relaxed-stricken faces give way to shock and horror as they both suddenly feel a sharp pain in their chests. And as they look down to see what it could possibly be, penetrating both their chests brutally is a familiar energy blade that could belong only to one man. One mortal who seemingly cannot be stopped by these gods at any cost. So our story continues as we return to Seadra and Mojito floating in the vast depths of space outside of a planet they had recently destroyed. The pair have just looked down, realizing that they have both been stabbed through the chest by an unknown attacker's energy blade. Seadra can only cough out a mouthful of blood and looks down to the glowing keyblade protruding out of the fresh hole in their chest, muttering, Mojito! How is this possible? Mojito meanwhile tries to remain as calm as he can, despite being in a fairly overwhelming amount of pain from being stabbed through the body, but just like us, he knows who this is likely to be an attack from, and tries his best not to alarm his lord as he replies, Lord Seadra, I'm afraid your plan may not have been as successful as you first thought. Look behind me. It cannot be! But as Seadra does look behind him, his face is instantly left shocked as he stares into the now cold and angry eyes of none other than Ultra Vegito. More damage than usual and a puddle of fresh blood on his face as Seadra then yells out in a mixture of fear and anger, No! 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 You... How could you survive a planetary level Hakai? There's no way you could have known until it was too late! But Vegito, who floats a short while away in the inky void of space, just stands tall, silent, emotionless, and looking down at the next god to meet his Godslayer blade. Reeling in the idea of watching Seadra squirm and panic without a hint of remorse in his face, he disregards the god's questions and grumbles. Seadra, you dirty, disgusting, fat rat! How could you? How could you destroy your own men? Your own people? Of your own universe? For what? For what, Seadra? Do you not value the lives of us mortals at all? Do you truly see yourself that far above us, you monsters? For your sins, you will die by my hand, Seadra! As instantly feelings of anger rush over the Saiyan, his face twisting into one of complete outrage. The God Killer tries his best to contain the raw power brought on by his pain and rage, but as his veins bulge out, a crackling, surging lightning aura continues to shoot out from his body. Meanwhile, listening in paralysis, Seadra and Mojito are shown still unable to move, impaled like meat on a kebab, still by Vegito, as both only look on at what they're seeing in total shock. It's not long before Seadra realizes just how high Vegeta's power level is skyrocketing and how dangerous it's becoming, commenting, His power! Mojito, this energy isn't normal. He's unstable. We need to get out of here now! But despite this, Mojito's face suddenly changes to one that is cold and derelict. A serious look on his mug, as now tired of this situation, he responds, No, my lord. We will not run from this demon. You are the mighty god of destruction of Universe 9, and I am your sworn angel, a child of the Grand Priest himself. This Vegito is nothing in comparison to us, and I, for one, will not allow this to go on any further. As instantly, Mojito then slashes his arm across behind his god of destruction, erasing the energy blade of Vegito completely and with ease, which even surprises Seadra in the process, who mutters, Vegito? But soon, with the angel and god now free, their eyes soon then focus in on their attacker, both Mojito and Seadra's eyes staring ominously and deeply at Vegito's, with Ultra Vegito's gaze seemingly penetrating their very souls, As the deities remain deathly silent, Vegito breaks the silence, letting out, "Have I got something on my face by chance? I guess you damn gods were never taught to not stare. Might lose your eyes because of it, you know." Disregarding Vegito's threats though, Mojito looks to Sidra and continues, "Lord Sidra, listen to me. Only together will we have a chance to stop him. Though it may seem as though we are on the back foot, in reality, whatever he did to escape that planetary Hakai has severely damaged him. Despite the theatrics, he's more than likely far weaker than he was before. This is our chance, my lord." "Already 2 steps ahead of you, Mojito." As Sidra, instantly on hearing this, powers up to his full power, losing his pupils in the process as he becomes covered in a ferocious destructive aura. While Mojito, in response, solemnly closes his eyes in respect, responding, "Of course, my lord. I should have known in all your divine wisdom, you would know exactly what I was thinking." And just like that, we are then treated to watching the god and angel side by side, one in his final Hakaishin form, while the other is coated in the divine aura of mastered Ultra Instinct. Usually, even one of these fighters would be enough to stop anyone, but for Ultra Vegito, this was merely only evening the playing field. The innocence! But meanwhile, it seems Ultra Vegito has been overwhelmed suddenly by the destruction of the planet he was just on, seemingly hitting a little too close to home and reminding him of when Earth was erased, as he grabs his head with one hand and mutters, "Go on, Krillin! Pan!" As now, in a full-on breakdown and mental crisis, Vegito has no choice but to bend his head down and grab it with both arms, as if trying to trap something within from bursting out. As he lets go of his staff and covers his vision, he screams angrily, "Why? Why do you gods treat us as so disposable? What did we ever do to you? You'll pay for this, I promise!" But while Vegito continues to struggle with his thoughts, Sidra and Mojito soon surround Vegito, with Sidra appearing on his left and Mojito on his right. And knowing the opportunity that has just arisen, the God of Destruction yells out with urgency, "Mojito, look! Something has caused the God Killer to lose his mind! He's vulnerable. This is our chance! Attack now!" Which Mojito nods, confirming he is ready to move on his god's command, by responding, "I understand, my lord. We end this now!" As both Sidra and Mojito then rush in separately from either side of Ultra Vegito, at full force, certain that with Vegito preoccupied with his mental instability, they would be able to pull off the defeat of the God Killer finally. Or so they thought, until a downright demonic-like smirk appears on the face of Ultra Vegito as he laughs under his breath, just staring in the direction of Sidra, secretly as if ready to pull off the ultimate Uno reverse card. Get real, you fools! As instantly, in a shock twist, Vegito shoots out with a smile 2 ridiculously fast-moving beams of light, ones which seem eerily familiar to an attack he used not too long ago, as he says with a smirk, "Seems all that intelligence couldn't do much to see through my Oscar-winning acting, huh? Ow! No! As now, in a callback to what happened with the daughters of Heles, Mojito and Seadra are both grabbed by their throats by the energy beam itself, clutching the life out of them tightly with no hope for escape. Lord Seadra, what is this? Why can we not remove these? Leaving even the Angel Mojito to be left squirming and struggling, trying to remove the seemingly impenetrable choking device around his neck. While a panicking and enraged Seadra just responds, Vegito, you sick demon! Get this off of us at once and fight us like a man! What did you just say? Which immediately causes Ultra Vegito to laugh hysterically at the preposterous statement, replying, Oh, old man, you must be going senile. Did you really just tell me to fight like a man? What part of attacking me 2-on-1 while I faked a mental breakdown was manly, my dear friend? You really are fools. It never ceases to amaze me just how pathetically simple-minded you gods are, considering the many years you've been alive. I guess you must have feared my powers so greatly that even the slightest chance to attack me made you abandon all sense of reason and throw caution to the wind. You should have never expected me to ever let my guard down. And now for that crime, you pay with your lives. Immediately after, Vegito then glares behind at Mojito like an old chum, who still looks surprised the God Killer could have grabbed him even in his heightened instinct state at all, as Vegito comments, And you, an angel, using Ultra Instinct no less. It looks like your instincts have completely failed you this time. They should have been telling you to run away, if anything. I guess the Grand Priest must have had all his kids with many different women, because you angels are certainly not all built the same. Whis would have never fell for such an obvious attack. How pathetic. I'll be doing the priest a favor by destroying you here and now, Mojito. Wait, Vegito! Spare me! But suddenly, Seadra, who can barely keep his eyes open at this point due to the blood loss and lack of oxygen, starts to try and appeal to Vegito, all the while still struggling with their energy hand around his throat, saying, Please, don't do this! You don't have to. Everything you've done, it can be forgotten. I can help. I can make this right, Vegito. But in response, Vegito just looks at him coldly. There's no sign of what we'd recognize as Goku or Vegeta in his face anymore, as only hatred and contempt remains. Responding more to humor him than seriously, Vegito questions, Oh, I see. So you can help, can you? What good is the help of my family's killers, Seadra? The very ones who erased them. You can bring them back? Is that what you're saying? Because if your answer is no, then the only way you can help me is by dying, along with the rest of your blasted divine realm, in just as horrific fashion as my family had to. I won't rest until the gods, angels, the Grand Priest and Zeno are all dead. Do you hear me? Dead! Seadra, hearing the conviction and anger in Vegito's face, begins sweating, knowing his time has probably almost ran out if he can't convince Vegito with his last play, saying back, No, you know that I just cannot undo that mistake. But Vegito, if it is truly vengeance you desire on all the gods, I can help. I know things. I am the oldest of the gods of destruction after all. I know all of their strengths, and I know all of their weaknesses. I even know the weakness of the Grand Priest. I'll be happy to share it all, If you just spare me and let me go, Vegito. Just me. That's all I ask. And for a moment, Vegito actually appears nearly convinced. Neither he nor us could have imagined such a lucrative deal. The almost guarantee of defeating not only every god, but the Grand Priest too. All in exchange for the life of an old man. Vegito in response then lets out, "The weakness of the Grand Priest, you say? You know the secret to beat all the gods too? What about Zeno? Is that included in the deal?" To which you're now almost surprised at himself that this is working, Sidra quickly responds, Yes, of course! I'll be honest, the weakness for Zeno is far harder to exploit than the one for the Grand Priest. But there is one, I can confirm that at least. I can give you all the information you desire to ensure your victory. You have my word. Just give me yours that you will spare my life in return. Having heard the full plea, Vegito looks at the ground for a moment, but says nothing. This deal is actually promising, and both Vegito and us as an audience know it. Near enough Vegito's entire goal could be accomplished. Just what will his reply be as he begins? Fine. My answer is... die! As Vegito instantly looks up with a maniacal smile, completely bamboozling Lord Sidra once again. He was never even considering his plea at all, but merely just enjoying the slight glimmer of hope he gave the god before crushing it in front of him. And ironically, following this, Vegito raises his arm ominously before instantly clutching his fingers down into a fist, as if crushing something else in his hand. No, Vegito! Don't do this! Please! But instantly, despite Sidra's last-ditch effort and attempt to save his own skin, his neck is immediately crushed. And ultimately, then left decapitated in an even more brutal fashion than what happened with Liquor, as crimson red blood pours out of his jugular veins as if never ending. Meanwhile, his angel, who has remained quiet all this time as he watched as his god begged for his own life, remains shaking in fear, only able to mutter, Lord Sidra, no! But Vegito, completely unmerciless in the face of the sorrow and sadness the angel feels, just callously turns around with a nothing short of evil smirk and says, "Quit whining, Angel. It's your turn next." So our story continues with us seeing the once calm and collected Angel Mojito, with a look of despair as he whimpers at just seeing his own god die before his eyes, still grabbing tightly onto the energy ring around his neck, struggling fruitlessly to escape now that all his angelic powers have left him. Ultra Vegito meanwhile remains in the air, still in position, staring at the bloody mess that is now Sidra, and with a signature smirk lets out, "Wow, look at all that blood, Sidra, and here I thought you were only full of crap." As following this, Vegito then raises his arm, slowly saying as he does, "But I think it's time to say our final goodbyes. Don't you think, Angel?" "What? No! Leave Lord Sidra alone! You've done enough, you monster!" Leaving Mojito to scream and struggle in anguish in the background even more as the heartless Vegito continues to raise his arm until... Hakai! a thunderous roar, Ultra Vegito shouts the final words he reserves for all gods after killing them, using their own technique to send them to the realm of nothingness. And like clockwork, Seedra's deceased and decapitated body then proceeds to disintegrate to dust. Like a sandcastle breaking down, the once god of destruction of Universe 9 is nothing more than a memory now. No! No! Lord Seedra! I failed you. As one final time, the angel Mojito, who had attended to Seedra for millennia, now watches as his life as he knows it is changed for eternity, seeing not only his lord, but his student and friend be erased forever. Eventually leaving Vegito, standing with his arm out and with Seedra now completely gone, as Vegito finally says, "Now, let's move on to you, Mojito. Want me to take your head off first, or do you prefer an old-fashioned Hakai while you're still alive?" Vegito! But now that sorrow and sadness has shifted completely to complete rage and anger, unbefitting of an angel, as his emotions take over him and he responds, You demon! Mark my words, you will pay for this! Your time is coming soon, Vegito. The minute my father arrives will be your last minute in existence. For what you did to the gods and myself, you will pay for 1,000 lifetimes! But Vegito, upon hearing this, is almost excited by the words, not bothered in the slightest by these same threats all the gods have made to him before, as he sarcastically responds, Oh, I'm quaking in my boots, Mojito. Not your big bad midget for a father. Oh, whatever will I do? Struggle and say all you want, Angel. You know as well as I do, this is the end for you. If I were you, I'd have made my last words a lot more positive than those. But each to their own, I guess. Enjoy nothingness, you weakling. As Vegito, just like before, begins raising his hand, ready to close it at any instant and snap off Mojito's head identically to Seedra's, upping the tension as he grimaces his face, staring at Mojito and yells, But suddenly something happens. Vegito's face becomes full of shock as on his left shoulder, blood begins to pour out. But from what? Let go of my brother, demon! What? As out of nowhere, what appears to be a young girl suddenly falls from the sky, wielding a familiar staff that effortlessly cuts through Vegito's arm like butter, shockingly severing it completely from the God Killer as he watches it separate in complete shock. You! My arm! You! Leaving him to be left unable to even form coherent sentences from the completely unexpected turn of events. As it is soon revealed, finally, the young girl is none other than Kusu, the angel of Universe 10 who was mysteriously missing from action when Vegito assassinated Rumshi, an overlooked mistake he will now regret for the rest of his life. As Kusu continues, I'll be taking those rings back now, Vegito, even if it means with your arm itself too. I have no idea why Lord Rumshi instructed me to stay when he went to confront you, but nothing will hold me back now from protecting my siblings! Kusu! I thought you had died! There's no way! The sudden arrival, of course, of the petite angel causes Mojito to instantly question in disbelief whether what he sees is really his older sister or just a last, fleeting apparition before his untimely death. But eventually, Gowasu moves from the stunned, in paralysis from the shocked Vegito and flies straight towards her brother, yelling, "Mojito, are you okay?" Which immediately then validates Mojito's thoughts as he yells back with a beaming smile, "Gowasu, it really is you! I can't believe it! Good going on injuring that monster! You really saved me, sister!" Eventually, as Gowasu arrives next to Mojito, she attempts to calm down her brother, who still clings onto the energy collar around his neck, as she explains the situation that went down in her own universe, saying, "Of course, I wouldn't let my little brother go out like that. This Vegito has already managed to erase Lord Rumshi, and even killed 2 Supreme Kais while he was at it too. Lord Rumshi had instructed me to stay put and not interfere under any circumstance, and as his attendant, I obeyed. But now that he's gone, I just couldn't stand by and watch anymore. Mojito, it's been a long time since we ever fought together in our training days with Father. But today, we'll put an end to this together, for the sake of all our brothers and sisters." But hearing this, Mojito can't help but still look at Gowasu with confusion and replies, "Gowasu? He just killed Lord Sidra, and you're saying he killed Rumshi too? Then what do you mean, sister? We can stop him as we are now. You know as well as I do, as soon as our god dies, our angelic powers instantly become inactive. I am completely powerless right now, and so should you. It's a big mystery how you were even able to damage Vegito like that. What's going on?" Gowasu, though, seemingly anticipating such a line of questioning, just smiles back and replies, "Haha, well, that would be the case normally. But many years ago, Father told me that within my staff, and a number of others, he built certain emergency functions. I do not know the powers the other angels have, but he told me mine was to manually reactivate our angel abilities, but only for 48 hours. Again, he made it clear that it had to be used only in the most necessary of situations, but with Father not having done anything about this monster yet, I'd say this was more an emergency than any. My only issue is, I've expended most of my time by now. But for you, once I reactivate your powers, you'll have a full 48. You need to use it wisely, Mojito." And after hearing this explanation, rather than worry about the time limit, Mojito looks at Gowasu with a smile and says, "So the rumors were true. Father really did have his favorites. I was never given any special powers, but I guess Father never really did bother to talk to me much. But you, Gowasu, what a ridiculous power to have embedded solely for his little Miss Perfect. No matter about the 48 hours, that along with whatever time you have left should be more than enough. 2-on-1, and this now one-armed Vegito fellow will be done for. Let's do this, Gowasu." To which Gowasu then nods back with a serious look and replies, "Got it, brother. Now stand still. This will be quick." And with that, Gowasu immediately fires off a beam of divine white aura from the palm of her hand. As instantly, the energy ball hits and surrounds Mojito in the iconic Ultra Instinct aura we know the angels for, surprising even Mojito himself as he comments, You weren't kidding, Gowasu. I can feel my energy return. No, I feel even stronger than before. This is outstanding." And so just like that, we then see for the first time dual angels, brother and sister, surrounded in divine mastered Ultra Instinct aura, ready to take on Vegito with all their might, with Gowasu screaming, "Alright, Mojito, I probably only have an hour left, for the sake of Father. No, For the sake of the entire multiverse, we will avenge our fallen brothers! To which Mojito gets his staff in position and replies, "Certainly, my sister, I will enjoy this demon's final moments!" God damn it! But meanwhile, back with Vegito, the adrenaline from the shock of seeing what Kusu did to him finally fades, and the pain and burn of his now blood-spewing shoulder begins to set in, as he clutches his shoulder to stem the blood and yells angrily, "You! What have you done to me? My arm! My rings! You'll die 1,000 deaths for this, angel!" And now the look of anger never before seen so intensely on Vegito's face, as veins bulge over not only his face, but in the whites of his eyes too. He lets out intimidatingly, "First, your damn daddy locks me up for 10 years of my life, making your own brother Whis off himself just to make things right. And then you take my entire family away from me for eternity, and now you undo what your own brother wished for and take away my own arm from me too! Why don't you damn angels just accept your punishment and die already?" And with just one arm still leaking a trail of blood, Vegito rushes in at the two angels, angrier than ever. But unfortunately, weaker too than ever after training for a year non-stop in the GT timeline, surviving a planetary Hakai, and Hakaiing Lord Sidra, all without a second of rest. And ultimately the two angels, in all their wisdom, know this too, smiling without a hint of fear in their heart as Vegito approaches, with Kusu thinking, "And here, the fool finally comes." Yeah! With Vegito beginning with an enraged punch that uncharacteristically misses under the exceptional movements of Kusu's Ultra Instinct, with the little girl commenting, "Too slow, God Killer." And as her confidence grows, a smirk comes across her lips as she continues, "I guess since you're missing an arm, I don't need to worry about a follow-up attack. I guess it's my turn now then." As suddenly, with alarming speed and power, Kusu swings her staff right at Vegito. For a moment, Vegito is left frozen. He wonders if he does anything to stop the staff, will it just slice through him again? "Not this time, you witch!" But ultimately, he brings his arm up at the last second, knowing as long as he isn't caught off guard and his arm is imbued with his ki, her staff will not cut through anything. But unfortunately, even with that block, there was nothing in the way now to defend himself on the other side, as Kusu instinctively follows up with a kick that lands, sending Vegito flying as he thinks, "Damn it! I haven't got used to having one arm yet! I still think it's there when it's not! I can't fight like this! I need to!" What? But before Vegito can even finish his thoughts, right behind him appears Mojito, he too gripping his angel staff with both hands until Vegito is slammed on the back of his neck with a blow that would normally leave anyone paralyzed, as Vegito coughs out blood and momentarily loses consciousness, being sent now flying uncontrollably toward the depths of space. "Sister, it's working just as you thought. Father would be proud. This mortal upstart doesn't even stand a chance." To which Kusu, with an even bigger smile, replies, "Haha, and only barely 10 minutes have passed, brother. We still have plenty of time to finish this, and have some fun with him too." As the two ferociously continue to chase after Vegito's vulnerable, flailing body, still not satisfied with the damage they've already inflicted on the Saiyan. Eventually though, Vegito manages to regain himself in the midst of space, staring into his impending fate as both angels rush in. In the brief seconds he has left, he continues to think to himself, "No, this isn't how this was supposed to go. I've lost too much blood and energy. Surprise attack after surprise attack has drained all my energy just trying to survive. And with one arm, I don't have a hope in hell of defending myself to pull off a win. What is even going on here? We said their powers should have deactivated the minute the gods died. It happened with Korn. Why isn't it the same here? Something is wrong, but I don't know what. I need to get out of here and regroup." "Hello, God Killer! Miss us?" But time is cut short, as in a flash, both Mojito and Kusu appear before the Saiyan menacingly, smiling from ear to ear, knowing just how helpless the once feared God Killer now is. As Mojito says, "Now be a good boy and let me chop off that other arm too. I wouldn't want you to use those remaining time rings, would we, Kusu?" Solar Flare! But while the cocky angels take their time threatening the thought to be helpless Vegito, the fused Saiyan unexpectedly takes a page from Tien Shinhan's book and unleashes an incredible bright light that blinds even the angels. "No, Kusu! We took too long!" As both Mojito and his sister close their eyes momentarily and cover them from the burning bright light, leaving Vegito finally some time to make his escape as he says to himself, "Got him! Enjoy seeing nothing but white lights, you freak! A little gift from one of your victims. His name was Tien." And just like that, Vegito rushes off, leaving the two angels in his dust, his arm still bleeding as he looks back knowing he can't even risk attacking them in this state. All he can do is run whether he likes it or not. Over there! And within seconds, Vegito plots course to a random planet below to find anywhere at all to hide or recover in some way. He still has some of the time rings left, but would he really escape without retrieving his arm to reattach? Eventually, Vegito arrives on the surface of the planet with a small thud, and for just a brief moment, he looks around to survey his surroundings, thinking, "What? This planet literally has no life force at all. It's nothing but rocks. Barely anywhere to get some space." As Vegito then grunts as he continues to run frantically to find any sort of cover to hide from the hunting angels above, thinking to himself, "There's got to be something around here. How can this massive planet not have even a hint of life? It's basically a glorified moon." Finally, this will do for now. But eventually though, Vegito does find himself at the foot of a large cave entrance. Pitch black inside, he decides to enter with his godly energy signature completely untraceable. But once inside and calming down in the darkness, he begins to think on his next moves, still grabbing onto his bloody shoulder, trying to remain conscious. They should have recovered from that solar flare by now, but they'll never figure out I'm here. They probably think I escaped with the staff, or even my current time rings. But there's no way in hell I'm leaving without that arm. Each of those rings provides instant access to another timeline. And on top of that, if I get that arm soon enough, I'll still be able to reattach it. Oh, we know exactly how important that arm is to you, demon! But suddenly, Vegito's calm thoughts are interrupted by a pair of familiar voices creepily yelling at him in tandem. Vegito slowly turns his head into the darkness, seeing nothing at first as he comments, "What the? Who's there? No, it couldn't be!" And in a scene straight out of a horror flick, two pairs of demonic-looking eyes with two creepy grins to match suddenly appear from within the darkness. Through whatever means, the angels have found Vegito, and there is no way to escape. And if you made it to the end and want more, leave me a hashtag Manga letter and watch it for free right now on mangaletter.com. Just use the links in the pinned comment and description, enter your name and email, and you will receive a special link to never before seen manga seconds later. Make sure to check your spam or junk folder if you can't see it, and use an active email, as emails which are not your main will automatically be removed.